Chapter 26:17. It seems like the Bloody Moon Devil's cultivation method is very similar to Luo Jian's. As he went deeper into the cave, Mo Qingyun sensed the blood qi all around him and immediately came to a conclusion. Then, Mo Qingyun thought to himself, if that's the case, moving this blood mountain to the Fortune continent and letting Luo Jian cultivate there shouldn't be a bad idea. As Mo Qingyun was pondering this, he arrived at the bottom of the cave and saw a charming young man. If he wasn't mistaken, this was the Bloody Moon Devil. Mo Qingyun's approach attracted the Bloody Moon Devil's attention and woke him up from his cultivation. The Bloodkill Moon Demon withdrew from his cultivation and opened his eyes. A beautiful blood-red light flashed within them. A galaxy-grade kid actually managed to barge in here. Interesting. The Bloody Moon Devil was surprised when he saw Mo Qingyun before him. Then, he sized up Mo Qingyun with interest. Clearly, Mo Qingyun's arrival had surprised him. In his opinion, given Mo Qingyun's cultivation base, he shouldn't have been able to reach him. After sizing up Mo Qingyun, a sinister smile appeared on the Bloody Moon Devil's face. My Bloody Moon Devil zombies just happened to be lacking a zombie commander. I was just thinking about looking for a zombie body when one came knocking on my door. While the Bloody Moon Devil was sizing up Mo Qingyun was also sizing up his surroundings and saw many blood-colored zombies. These zombies were very strong. Every single one of them was at the Celestial Domain grade, and the strongest ones were at the peak Celestial Domain grade. A total of 73 zombies. Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with shock when he saw the number of corpses. He understood a little more. He finally understood why quasi-universe-grade powerhouses couldn't do anything to the Bloody Moon Devil. With this group of Bloody Moon Devil zombies, the Bloody Moon Devil's combat strength would increase exponentially. Kid, are you going to surrender yourself, or do you want me to do it myself? Sizing up Mo Qingyun, the Bloodkill Moonfiend sneered, like a predator sizing up its prey. Hearing the Bloody Moon Demon's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile and said, I don't choose that either. I choose to kill you and go back to exchange for battle merit. Mo Qingyun's words immediately enraged the Bloodkill Moon Demon. His face turned icy cold. What an arrogant brat. Wait until I refine you into a Blood Moon demonic zombie. Let's see if you can still say those words then. As the Bloody Moon Demon roared, he waved his arm and ordered the 5 demonic Blood Moon zombies. Upon receiving the Bloodkill Moon Devil's order, the 5 Blood Moon demonic zombies roared and pounced towards Mo Qingyun. In just a short moment, Mo Qingyun's path was blocked, and he was surrounded by the Blood Moon demonic zombies. Just a few zombies can't do anything to me. Glancing at the Blood Moon demonic zombies, Mo Qingyun put his hands behind his back and stood in place with an indifferent expression. The current Mo Qingyun had the demeanor of a grandmaster, as if he was alone and seeking defeat. You're courting death. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the Bloodkill Moon Demon became even more enraged, and the sharp light in his eyes became even colder. As the Bloodkill Moon Demon roared, the 5 Blood Moon demonic zombies leaped and pounced towards Mo Qingyun. As they approached Mo Qingyun, a dazzling light suddenly appeared around Mo Qingyun's body. Then, a small sword aura circled around Mo Qingyun's body. Poochie! The sword aura shot out and smashed into the Blood Moon demonic zombies, shattering them. Watching the Blood Moon demonic zombies explode, Mo Qingyun sighed with regret. 5 Blood Moon demonic zombies are destroyed just like that. It's too much of a pity. In order to avoid further losses, it's better to collect them first. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, and he started collecting the Blood Moon demonic zombies. In a short while, more than a dozen Blood Moon demonic zombies were collected by Mo Qingyun into the Fortune mainland. Punk, stop. Seeing this scene, the Bloodkill Moon Demon was alarmed, and he hurriedly shouted at Mo Qingyun. At this moment, the Bloodkill Moon Demon had the urge to cry. He really didn't expect this punk in front of him to snatch his Blood Moon demonic zombies. More importantly, this punk had snatched more than a dozen Blood Moon demonic zombies when he wasn't paying attention. He had paid a great price to refine these Blood Moon demonic zombies. If the Blood Moon demonic zombies were destroyed by the enemy in battle, he wouldn't feel any heartache. After all, in order to protect his own life, the necessary sacrifice was worth it. However, it was different now that Emo Qinyun had snatched it away from him. Emo Qinyun ignored the Bloodkill Moon demon's angry roar, and continued to snatch more Blood Moon demonic zombies. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen Blood Moon demonic zombies were collected by Emo Qinyun. Punk, you've gone too far, quickly return the Blood Moon demonic zombies to me. Seeing Emo Qinyun's actions, the Bloodkill Moon demon roared, and his anger reached a boiling point. Then, he no longer hesitated and ordered the other Blood Moon demonic zombies to attack. Under the Bloodkill Moon demon's will, more than a dozen Blood Moon demonic zombies attacked at the same time, surrounding Emo Qinyun. Looks like I can't take all of them away. Looking at the Blood Moon demonic zombies attacking together, Emo Qinyun's face revealed a regretful expression, and he once again sent out sword energy. Then, a series of imposing sword energy appeared around Emo Qinyun's body. As soon as the sword energy appeared, it madly chased after the Blood Moon demonic zombies. In just a moment, the Blood Moon demonic zombies that were close to Emo Qinyun were blasted into pieces. In the face of the tyrannical bombardment of the sword energy, these seemingly ferocious Blood Moon demonic zombies were completely useless. Although some of the Blood Moon demonic zombies were destroyed, some were forcibly collected by Emo Qinyun. Looking at the Blood Moon demonic zombies that were wiped out by Emo Qinyun in a short period of time, the Bloodkill Moon demon was stunned. This was a situation that he had never expected. At the same time, he looked at Emo Qinyun with an intense fear in his eyes. At this moment, even if he was a fool, he could tell that the kid in front of him was very strong. Although his cultivation was not high, his battle prowess was extremely terrifying. With this kid's talent and strength, it's very likely that he came from a 4-star continent. The Bloodkill Moon demon thought to himself, and the way he looked at Emo Qinyun changed greatly. He said, "Sir, let's talk nicely. If I have offended you in any way, I hope you can point it out. I will definitely correct it. There's nothing to offend. I'm only looking for you to complete the battlefield mission." In response to the Bloodkill Moon demon's words, Emo Qinyun responded indifferently. He then said in an impatient tone, "There's no need to say anything else. Show me what you're capable of." As Emo Qinyun's words fell, he took the initiative to attack the bloody killing Moon demon. He didn't want to waste time talking nonsense with him. Chapter 26:18. It ignored defense. Golden Bull Sky Shattering Slash. As soon as Emo Qinyun made his move, he didn't hold back at all. He immediately displayed a powerful attack. A sharp sacred power converged on the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and blossomed with a dazzling golden glow. The golden glow flashed and turned into an imposing sword light that blasted towards the Bloody Moon demon. The Bloody Moon demon shuddered in the face of Emo Qinyun's attack. He looked flustered as he said, "What a terrifying attack. It actually makes my heart palpitate." The Bloody Moon demon wasn't an ordinary person. He was a peak celestial domain grade powerhouse, so his mental state wasn't something an ordinary person could compare to. After adjusting himself slightly, the Bloody Moon demon calmed down and immediately used a mystic ability to resist the sword light. Bloody Killing Puppet Spiritual Array. The Bloody Moon demon's hands moved quickly and gathered a terrifying sacred power that blossomed with a demonic bloodlight. The Bloody Moon demon waved his hand and a bloodlight with runes revolving around it was thrown in front of him. Roar. When the bloodlight landed, it turned into an array formation and summoned a powerful blood corpse. When these blood corpses appeared, they resisted the sword light under the Bloody Moon demon's control. However, what shocked the Bloody Moon demon was that these blood corpses were useless against the onslaught of the sword light. How? How could this be? Upon seeing this scene, the bloody moon demon trembled and a chill ran down his spine. At the moment, a strong sense of unease grew in his heart. While the bloody moon demon was still in shock, the sword light pierced through the group of blood corpses and blasted his body. After being bombarded by the sword light, the bloody moon demon was sliced in half and a sinister wound appeared on his body. What made the bloody moon demon even more panicked was that the sword light actually contained an annihilation attack. Pang! 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 After several consecutive annihilation attacks, the bloody moon demon's injuries reached an extreme level. At the same time, the bloody moon demon's control over his body was also completely severed. His physical body had been completely destroyed by Mo Qingyun's sword. Run! After losing control of his physical body, the bloody moon demon didn't dare stay any longer. His primordial spirit immediately left his body. Then, the bloodkill lunar demon turned into a blur and flew out of the cave mansion. Seeing the bloodkill moon demon's actions, Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed. He hesitated as to whether or not he should chase after him. Forget it, it's enough to get his body. Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before coming to a decision. He didn't kill the bloodkill lunar demons. In his opinion, his main goal was to complete the battlefield mission. Since he had achieved his goal, it was fine. Mo Qingyun lifted his hand and received the bloodkill moon demon's body. Then, he turned and flew out of the cave mansion. Not long after, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of the blood mountain and stopped flying. After taking a quick look at Shueshan, Mo Qingyun struck out with his palm, unleashing a terrifying burst of saint energy. Soon, the blood mountain was enveloped by the saint energy and was pulled up from the ground bit by bit. Seeing this scene, the bloodkill lunar demon, who was hiding not too far away, widened his eyes in shock. This guy actually wants to move the evil spirit's blood mountain. Seeing that his nest was taken away by Mo Qingyun, the bloodkill lunar demon was shocked beyond words. Of course, while he was shocked, he felt even more depressed and bitter. Seeing that his nest was taken away by someone, the bloodkill lunar demon didn't dare to stay any longer. He was very clear that the reason he was able to escape was because Mo Qingyun didn't want to kill him. Encountering an enemy like Mo Qingyun, he could only accept his bad luck. Of course, the bloodkill lunar demon chose to leave because he couldn't guarantee anything. If Mo Qingyun found out that he hadn't left, would he spare him again? A short while later, under Mo Qingyun's guidance, the evil spirit's blood mountain was moved to the Fortune mainland. After moving the evil spirit's blood mountain to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun instructed Luo Jian to take care of it himself. Since the bloodkill lunar demon has been dealt with, it's time to go back in hand in the battlefield mission. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, heading back to the campsite to hand over the mission. A short while later, Mo Qingyun left the Blood Moon mainland, flying back on the Blood Cloud flying ship. Not long after Mo Qingyun left the Blood Moon mainland, Zhang Ji arrived, cautiously approaching the bloodkill lunar demon's cultivation dwelling. He was well aware of the bloodkill lunar demon's strength, and it would be difficult for him to deal with it alone. Under Zhang Ji's careful guidance, he finally arrived at the evil spirit's blood mountain. When Zhang Ji saw the scene in front of him, he was dumbfounded. The entire evil spirit's blood mountain was gone, as if someone had forcefully moved it away. After a brief daze, Zhang Ji's thoughts raced. Could it be that the bloodkill lunar demon ran into trouble and moved his nest away? In Zhang Ji's opinion, other than the bloodkill lunar demon himself, who would move the evil spirit's blood mountain for no reason? As Zhang Ji thought of this, he was puzzled. He thought to himself, since the bloodkill lunar demon left, where did Mo Qingyun go? For a time, Zhang Ji's heart was filled with confusion, and he was confused by this situation. Forget it, since that kid isn't here, I'll go back first. Zhang Ji shook his head and began to leave the Blood Moon mainland, rushing back to the camp. As the commander of the camp, he had many important matters to attend to, so he couldn't leave for long periods of time. After leaving the Blood Moon mainland, Zhang Ji's mind spun, and he immediately thought of a possibility. Could it be that Emo Qingyun received a battlefield mission and went to hide somewhere to slack off? Zhang Ji had encountered such a situation before, and it wasn't just once or twice. Previously, there were some people who were afraid of death and didn't want to fight on the battlefield, so they received a mission and went into hiding. Of course, after those people were discovered, they were severely punished. Humph! He really is incorrigible. As Zhang Ji thought of this, his impression of Emo Qingyun plummeted again. When this kid returns to the camp, I'll definitely punish him and report this matter to the sect. At this moment, Emo Qingyun was undoubtedly rat shit in Zhang Ji's eyes. If Emo Qingyun knew of Zhang Ji's thoughts, he would definitely be speechless. From the time he came to the camp until now, he hadn't done anything. This was all Manager Zhang Ji's conjecture. Several hours later, some of the disciples who received simple missions returned to the camp one after another. When everyone returned to the camp, they naturally asked each other about the results of the battle and looked at each other's progress. Among these disciples who returned to the camp, Tang Ying and the others happened to be included. After Tang Ying and the others handed in their missions, they thought of Emo Qingyun, and a cold smile appeared at the corners of their mouths. When they were handing in their missions just now, they took a look and saw that the mission to kill the Bloodkill Lunar Demon had yet to be completed. This meant that Emo Qingyun had gone to kill the Bloodkill Lunar Demon and hadn't returned yet. Thinking of this, Tang Ying and the others were pleased with themselves. Emo Qingyun was most likely doomed. Chapter 26:19. After a while, Tang Ying and the others handed in their mission and left the mission tent. After coming out of the mission tent, Tang Ying and the others couldn't help but talk about Emo Qingyun. Do you guys think that Emo Qingyun took the mission to kill the Bloodkill Lunar Demon and found an excuse to hide? Pan Qing sneered when he came out of the mission tent, showing his disdain for Emo Qingyun. Hearing Pan Qing's words, Wang Yuan sneered and said, "Is there even a need to ask? He must have found a place to hide. Is he really going to kill the Bloodkill Lunar Demon?" Wang Yuan's words immediately caused the others to laugh. They all felt disdain for Emo Qingyun. At this moment, while everyone was talking and laughing, a flying ship approached at an extremely fast speed. Seeing these flying ships approaching, Tang Ying and the others were shocked and couldn't help but feel respect. In their opinion, to be able to brazenly drive a flying ship to the camp, the person who came was definitely not simple. However, before Tang Ying and the others could sigh, their expressions froze and they all felt uncomfortable in their hearts. The person who controlled the flying ship turned out to be the Emo Qingyun that they had mocked. More importantly, the moment they saw the flying ship, they actually felt respect for Emo Qingyun. When everyone thought of this, they immediately felt uncomfortable in their hearts, as if they had swallowed a fly. Emo Qingyun ignored everyone's reaction and directly walked out of the flying ship. After coming out of the blood cloud flying ship, Emo Qingyun raised his hand and put away the blood cloud flying ship. Emo Qingyun's footsteps didn't stop. He directly walked into the camp and rushed towards the mission tent. Seeing Emo Qingyun approach, Tang Ying and the others sneered and immediately went to greet Emo Qingyun. "Oh, who is this? The expert who took the A-grade mission?" When Tang Ying arrived in front of Emo Qingyun, he had a sinister smile on his face as he mocked Emo Qingyun. Hearing Tang Ying's words, Wang Yuan immediately added, seeing him control the flying ship and return in triumph, "He should have completed the A-grade mission and is preparing to hand in the mission to receive the reward. You can even complete an A-grade mission by yourself. No wonder you want to leave us behind. You're really amazing." Pan Qing didn't want to be outdone. He started to mock Emo Qingyun, as if he was waiting for Emo Qingyun to make a fool of himself. Regarding the performance of Tang Ying and the rest, Emo Qingyun directly ignored them, completely treating them as air. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Tang Ying and the others were displeased. They were furious. Immediately after, Tang Ying stepped forward and blocked Mo Qingyun's path. He said, our great expert, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Quickly share with us, how's your A-grade mission going? As soon as Tang Ying's words fell, the surrounding people responded. They were not afraid of making a big deal out of it. You've all said it just now. I've returned in triumph. Of course, it's because I've completed my mission. In the face of Tang Ying and the rest's mocking, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and left a sentence. He then walked towards the mission tent. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Ying and the rest were stunned. They were dumbfounded by Mo Qingyun's words. After a short moment of surprise, Tang Ying smiled faintly. He was even more disdainful of Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun had completed an A-grade mission by himself. Was that possible? Did I hear wrongly? Did he really complete an A-grade mission? That's for sure. He's a great expert. Killing a bloody killing moonfiend is nothing. Since that's the case, let's go together and see the great expert hand in his mission. After a round of sarcastic banter, they headed towards the mission tent. Not long after, everyone followed behind Mo Qingyun and entered the mission tent. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Tang Ying and the rest following him. He directly walked over to hand in his mission. Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, the middle-aged man in charge of handing in missions was first stunned. Then, he smiled and said, "Kid, how is it? What mission do you want to exchange for?" Mo Qingyun receiving an A-grade mission was too shocking. Thus, it left a deep impression on the middle-aged man. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun had come today to exchange missions. "No, I'm not here to exchange missions. I'm here to hand in my mission." Seeing that the middle-aged man had misunderstood him, Mo Qingyun smiled and waved his hand, explaining his intentions. Hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, the middle-aged man was stunned. He didn't react for a moment. He was puzzled. Hand in your mission? Did he kill the bloody killing moonfiend? Before the middle-aged man could react, he saw Mo Qingyun raise his hand and toss a corpse onto the ground. This is? Mo Qingyun's actions left the middle-aged man even more puzzled. Seeing that the middle-aged man didn't understand, Mo Qingyun didn't mind. He pointed at the corpse on the ground and said, "This is the corpse of the bloody killing moonfiend. You can appraise it." Blood-killing moonfiend's corpse. Mo Qingyun's reply gave the middle-aged man quite a fright. Then, he bent down and examined the bloody killing moonfiend's corpse. The more he examined it, the more frightened he became and the faster his heartbeat sped up. This was because he discovered that this really was the corpse of the bloody killing moonfiend. Didn't this mean that Mo Qingyun had really completed his mission? You really killed the bloody killing moonfiend? Perhaps out of shock, the middle-aged man couldn't help but ask after examining the bloody killing moonfiend's corpse. "The corpse is here. How could it be fake?" Mo Qingyun shrugged. He didn't explain too much. "Since the bloody killing moonfiend's corpse isn't fake, can I hand in my mission now?" Yes. Although the middle-aged man didn't understand, he still nodded. No matter what method Mo Qingyun had used, he had killed the bloody killing moonfiend. However, the bloody killing moonfiend's corpse couldn't be faked. Therefore, Mo Qingyun's mission had been successfully completed. After saying that, Mo Qingyun took the battle merit card and handed it to the middle-aged man. Before long, Mo Qingyun had obtained 100,000 battle merits and his battle merit card started to sparkle. Everyone was stunned when they saw this. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Mo Qingyun had actually completed his mission. If this was the case, wouldn't their actions make them look like clowns? Mo Qingyun glanced at everyone indifferently before he said, "Let me see if there are any other missions that can be completed by one person." As he spoke, Mo Qingyun held the golden jade scroll in his hand and carefully observed it. Before long, Mo Qingyun chose an A-grade mission, scaring the middle-aged man once again. The difficulty of this mission was slightly easier than killing the bloody killing Moonfiend. Killing 10 captains would result in a reward of 50,000 battle merit. If one wanted to kill captains, they would have to head to the front lines of the battlefield and confront the powerhouses of the Blood Soul Galaxy. Killing 10 captains in a confrontation between two armies wasn't an ordinary level of danger. Putting aside the chaotic battlefield, just the 10 captains alone would be very difficult to deal with. It should be known that every captain was at least a celestial domain grade. Of course, this was only true for ordinary people. They weren't a threat to Emo Qingyun. Chapter 26:20. After receiving the battlefield mission, Emo Qingyun didn't waste any time. He immediately left the mission tent. After leaving the mission tent, he asked a few simple questions before rushing over to the battlefield. As Emo Qingyun left, Tang Ying and the others came back to their senses, feeling as if everything had been unreal. Emo Qingyun had really killed the Bloody Moon Demon. How strong had he become? Do you guys think that Emo Qingyun might have cheated when he completed the mission to kill the Bloody Moon Demon? In my opinion, the Bloody Moon Demon might have encountered a strong enemy and died at the hands of that enemy. In any case, Emo Qingyun has completed an A-grade mission. His battle merits are way ahead of us. Let's go and get the mission too. We'll try our best to catch up to Emo Qingyun. Tang Ying and the others had a fruitless discussion, so they accepted the mission and left. Not long after Tang Ying and the others left, Zhang Ji returned to the camp. When Zhang Ji returned to the camp, he angrily looked for someone and asked, "Did Emo Qingyun come back?" "He came back once not long ago, but he quickly left again." The man answered honestly to Zhang Ji's question. When he heard this reply, Zhang Ji's face darkened. That kid really went into hiding. What an incurable coward. Zhang Ji snorted. His impression of Emo Qingyun had worsened once again. In his opinion, Emo Qingyun was too slippery. He was clearly dawdling and avoiding the battlefield. As for Emo Qingyun killing the Bloody Moon Demon, Zhang Ji simply didn't think about it. Even someone like him only had a 30% chance of winning against the Bloodkill Moonfiend. Emo Qingyun was merely a galaxy-grade martialist. If he had encountered the Bloody Moon Demon, he would have only been killed by it. Pass down the order. If Emo Qingyun returns to the camp, escort him over. Zhang Ji tossed out these words before returning to his tent and starting to deal with the recent battles. While Zhang Ji was dealing with the battles, the middle-aged man in charge of handing over the mission personally came to his tent. "Deacon Qua, what's the matter?" Seeing that the middle-aged man came to find him, Zhang Ji frowned and asked curiously. As far as he was concerned, Deacon Qua was in charge of handing over missions, so there was no need for him to come to him personally. As far as he could remember, Deacon Qua had only come to see him when he had completed an A-grade mission. Now that Deacon Qua was here, could it be that someone had completed an A-grade mission? Zhang Ji's heart was filled with anticipation. He wanted to know which mission had been completed. Under Zhang Ji's expectant gaze, Deacon Qua waved his arm and threw the Bloody Moon Demon's corpse out. Seeing the corpse in front of him, Zhang Ji's eyelids twitched as he recognized it. This was the corpse of the Bloodkill Lunar Demon. The Bloodkill Moon Demon had actually been killed by someone. Could it have been Emo Qingyun? No. It can't be him. The thought of Emo Qingyun killing the bloody killing Moon Demon flashed through Zhang Ji's mind before he discarded it. As far as he was concerned, this was something impossible. After eliminating the possibility of it being Emo Qingyun, Zhang Ji revealed a curious expression. He asked, "Deacon Qua, the Bloodkill Moon Demon was killed. Could it be that Vice Commander Huang was the one who led his men?" Deputy Commander Huang was also a peak celestial domain grade. If he had found a few helpers, there would have been some hope of killing the Bloody Moon Demon. No. Deacon Qua shook his head and smiled helplessly. The mission to kill the bloody moon demon was completed by Mo Qingyun alone. What? It was him? Zhang Ji's eyes widened when he heard this. He felt a little dizzy. This result had come too suddenly, and it was also too unacceptable. A galaxy-grade martialist had single-handedly killed a celestial domain-grade martialist. This was a huge leap. Wasn't this too monstrous? As far as Zhang Ji knew, he had never heard of such a thing in the two-star factions area. Zhang Ji wasn't an ordinary person. After being shocked for a while, he calmed down and asked, since the bloody moon demon's corpse is here, Mo Qingyun should have handed in his mission. Where is he now? He handed in his mission and received an A-grade mission to kill a captain. Deacon Qua didn't hide anything from Zhang Ji's question. He just reported truthfully. He received an A-grade mission again. Zhang Ji was stunned when he heard about Mo Qingyun. He was even more puzzled now. After pondering this for a while, Zhang Ji frowned and muttered to himself. He actually went to the battlefield. Could I have missed him? Suddenly, Zhang Ji realized that he couldn't see through Mo Qingyun anymore. This fellow's way of doing things couldn't be estimated using common sense. Forget it. There's no need to pay attention to that kid for now. Let him do whatever he wants. Zhang Ji was silent for a while before he waved his hands at Deacon Qua and said, "When that kid returns, get him to come see me." "All right." Hearing Zhang Ji's words, Deacon Qua nodded and left the tent. After Deacon Qua left, Zhang Ji's eyebrows knitted. He was extremely puzzled. It was reasonable to say that with Mo Qingyun's strength, he should have been supported by everyone. However, when he arrived at the battlefield, the other disciples had banded together and pushed Mo Qingyun aside. More importantly, if Mo Qingyun had really killed the bloody moon demon, he could have used his martial strength to suppress everyone else. What kind of bad things did this kid do to make everyone dislike him so much? The more Zhang Ji thought about it, the more his head hurt. Although he was surprised by Mo Qingyun's performance, his impression of him hadn't changed. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun should have some ability, but his character wasn't too good. Zhang Ji ignored Mo Qingyun and continued to deal with other matters. After leaving the camp, Mo Qingyun rushed towards the nebula battlefield without stopping. When Mo Qingyun arrived, he saw many disciples moving about at the edge of the battlefield. The disciples who had rushed to the battlefield to fight were very confident in their own strength. As a result, many of the Blood Soul Galaxy's soldiers had died under his blade. The commanders of the Blood Soul Galaxy chose to ignore the small quarrels of these disciples. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the nebula battlefield, he swept his eyes over the battlefield and analyzed it. After some observation, Mo Qingyun discovered that the Heavenly Bull Divine sect was still at a disadvantage. Of course, this wasn't what Mo Qingyun cared about. The battle situation had nothing to do with him. What he cared about now was whether there were powerhouses in the Blood Soul Galaxy's camp that had comprehended the space laws. If there were such powerhouses, then it would be very difficult for him to carry out his mission. After some observation, Mo Qingyun obtained an answer. The opposing camp didn't have any powerhouses that had comprehended the space laws. Chapter 26-21. As Mo Qingyun approached, the people from the Divine Heavenly Bull sect immediately discovered his presence. When they saw Mo Qingyun's clothes, they realized his identity and didn't pay too much attention to him. They knew that this was yet another inner sect disciple participating in the core disciple assessment. Be careful. Don't get close to the battlefield. Although he knew Mo Qingyun's identity, Deputy Commander Huang, who was in charge of the battle, still reminded Mo Qingyun. No matter what, Mo Qingyun was a disciple participating in the assessment, so it was necessary to warn him. Mo Qingyun acknowledged Deputy Commander Huang's warning and approached the battlefield. As Mo Qingyun approached the battlefield, the disciples who were in the middle of killing each other noticed his arrival. Mo Qingyun is here? Didn't he go to hunt the bloody moon devils? Are you stupid? How could Emo Chinyun possibly kill the bloody moon devils given his cultivation base? If my guess is right, he must have failed his mission and came to hunt the enemy troops obediently. The disciples were all talking at once. However, if one observed carefully, they would realize that they were all looking at Luo Yunyang with disdain. Emo Chinyun didn't care about the reactions of these disciples. He just observed the battle from a close distance. At the same time, Emo Chinyun was also searching for the captains and thinking about how to hunt them down. Retreat quickly. Shi Ming is coming for us again. This fellow clearly has the combat strength of a general, yet he is still willing to be a captain. It's not like you don't know how despicable the Blood-Soul Galaxy is. As Emo Chinyun observed the battlefield, a group of people grumbled in his ears. Then, Emo Chinyun looked at Shi Ming and set him as his first target. A mid-stage celestial domain grade isn't hard to deal with. After discovering Shi Ming's cultivation base, Emo Chinyun smiled faintly and quickly flew over to Shi Ming. Seeing Emo Chinyun's actions, the disciples participating in the test all revealed shocked expressions. Emo Chinyun, he ran into the battlefield. What is he trying to do? From the looks of it, he seems to be planning to rescue Captain Mali. With his cultivation, he wants to rescue Chief Mari? Is that even possible? The disciples were once again filled with disdain. Compared to the disdain of the disciples, Vice Commander Huang, who was standing in the distance, frowned. Noticing Vice Commander Huang's expression, the other generals beside him were displeased. One of them said, "This disciple is too willful. If we try to save him, the experts of the Blood-Soul Galaxy will definitely attack us," another person added. But just as they finished speaking, they heard Vice Commander Huang say in surprise, "Hey, that's a Blood Moon demonic zombie. How can that disciple be a Blood Moon demonic zombie? What is his relationship with the Bloodkill Moon demon?" Vice Commander Huang had participated in the encirclement of the Bloody Moon demons, so he was no stranger to the Bloody Moon demonic zombies. Upon seeing Emo Chinyun's abnormal behavior, Vice Commander Huang became even more curious about him. Although Vice Commander Huang's brows were still furrowed, he had a look of understanding on his face as he said, "No wonder he dares to enter the battlefield. It turns out that he has an important trump card." In Vice Commander Huang's opinion, Emo Chinyun was relying on the Blood Moon demonic zombies he was controlling. What he didn't know was that Emo Chinyun was doing this because he didn't want to appear too shocking. Retreat quickly. Shi Ming is very strong. Captain Mali hurriedly warned Emo Chinyun when he saw Emo Chinyun approaching. However, Emo Chinyun didn't pay much attention to his words. As everyone watched, Emo Chinyun's footsteps didn't stop. Instead, he headed straight for Shi Ming. A Galaxy-grade disciple actually dares to charge at me alone? He must have a death wish. Upon seeing Emo Chinyun's actions, Shi Ming sneered and swept his staff at Emo Chinyun. As Shi Ming waved his staff, it immediately emitted a faint glow and a cold aura. Then, black sacred power snakes flew out of the staff one by one. The black snakes were very fast and arrived before Emo Chinyun in the blink of an eye, trying to trap Emo Chinyun. Upon seeing this, the corners of Emo Chinyun's mouth curled up slightly as he moved forward. As Emo Chinyun moved forward, he also controlled the Bloody Moon demonic zombies to attack the black sacred power snake. Bang, bang, bang in the face of the attacks of the Bloody Moon demonic zombies, the black sacred power snakes were quickly scattered and turned into pure sacred power. Upon seeing the expression of the Bloody Moon demonic zombies, Shi Ming was startled and a strange look appeared in his eyes. Given his eyesight, he could naturally tell that the Bloody Moon demonic zombies were extraordinary. Given the Bloody Moon demonic zombies' celestial domain grade cultivation, they would make a decent fighter. Immediately, he looked at the Bloody Moon demonic zombies with a greedy expression. If he obtained this Bloody Moon demonic zombies, even if he was promoted to a general, his strength wouldn't be at the bottom. Of course, if Shi Ming knew that this was the Bloody Moon demonic zombies of the Bloody Moon demonic zombies, deep down, he probably wouldn't think so. Kid, a Bloody Moon demonic zombies won't be able to save you. Shi Ming smiled coldly and raised the staff in his hand. Immediately, a dark green glow bloomed. At the same time, a gloomy, cold aura erupted from his staff. SSS. A huge snake shadow flew out of the staff. This was the remnant spirit of the demon snake. This remnant spirit wasn't weak. It was actually comparable to the initial stage of the celestial domain grade. It seemed like its strength had been even more terrifying at its peak. Blood python swallowing all rivers. A terrifying sacred power poured into the snake's staff, causing its glow to become even brighter. Then, the remnant spirit of the demon snake started to solidify bit by bit and turned into a 1,000-meter-long blood snake. As soon as the blood snake was formed, it swung its tail and rushed toward Mo Qingyun's Bloody Moon demonic zombies. Kid, without the protection of the Bloody Moon demonic zombies, you'd better surrender. Upon seeing the blood snake entangle the Bloody Moon demonic zombies, Shi Ming looked smug, as if he was certain that he would defeat Mo Qingyun. As Shi Ming spoke, he didn't hesitate and rushed toward Mo Qingyun. He must have thought that the situation on the battlefield was constantly changing and that the slightest hesitation would lead to changes. To avoid any more complications, it was safer to take down Mo Qingyun first. Who told you that I don't have any more Bloody Moon demonic zombies? Mo Qingyun grinned as he watched Shi Ming rush toward him. Then, he made a move in front of him. As Mo Qingyun waved his hand, several blood-red figures appeared in front of him. When the blood-red figures appeared, they turned into streaks of bloody light and quickly surrounded Shi Ming. 8. Shi Ming's eyelids twitched when he saw the Bloody Moon demonic zombies around him. A chill ran down his spine. Given his current strength, dealing with 8 Bloody Moon demonic zombies would still be somewhat difficult. More importantly, 3 of the 8 Bloody Moon demonic zombies were comparable to mid-stage celestial domain grade. This result frightened him quite a bit. This time, he had been careless. As soon as he realized that something was wrong, Shi Ming decisively fled toward the Blood Soul Galaxy's camp. Chapter 26-22. In the Skybowl Mountain Sex Camp. 12 Blood Moon demonic zombies. Deputy Commander Huang froze on the spot when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. He had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would have such a large number of Blood Moon demonic zombies. Even if he encountered Mo Qingyun, who was controlling 12 Blood Moon demonic zombies, he would have a headache. He has so many Blood Moon demonic zombies. Could he be the successor of the Bloody Moon demon? In Deputy Commander Huang's opinion, other than the successor of the Bloody Moon demon, who else could have so many Blood Moon demonic zombies? While Deputy Commander Huang was guessing, he was puzzled. As far as I can remember, the Bloody Moon demon doesn't have any disciples. Who exactly is this kid? At this moment, Deputy Commander Huang was extremely curious about Mo Qingyun's identity. More importantly, even if Mo Qingyun was the successor of the Bloody Moon demon, why would he want to deal with Shi Ming? Could it be a ruse? Deputy Commander Huang wasn't an ordinary person, so he thought of another possibility. However, as soon as this thought appeared, he immediately rejected it. At the cost of a major general, the price of this ruse was too high. Furthermore, Shi Ming wasn't an ordinary captain. He was a captain comparable to a general. While Deputy Commander Huang was puzzled, Shi Ming was killed by Mo Qingyun. More importantly, after Mo Qingyun killed Shi Ming, he didn't stop moving. Before long, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of another captain and launched an overbearing attack on him. When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Deputy Commander Huang revealed a look of understanding. It seems like he has accepted the mission to kill captains. If that's the case, he shouldn't be the successor of Shi Ming. He must have obtained the Blood Moon demonic zombies by coincidence. His luck is really amazing to be able to obtain so many Blood Moon demonic zombies. For a moment, Deputy Commander Huang couldn't find the right words to describe Mo Qingyun's luck. It didn't take long for Mo Qingyun to kill the 4 captains. Furthermore, his hunt was still ongoing as he charged towards the 5th major. Seeing Mo Qingyun's shocking actions, Captain Ma, who had been rescued by him, widened his eyes and said, "Is this kid really an inner disciple of the Skybull Mountain sect? With his battle prowess, even some elders can't compare to him." A bitter smile appeared on Captain Mario's face when he thought of this. His emotions were complicated. With Mo Qingyun's battle strength, participating in the core disciple assessment was clearly bullying others. That's right, it was bullying, and it was the unreasonable kind. Mo Qingyun continued to kill the tribunals. He gradually went deeper into the Blood-Soul Galaxy and attracted the attention of the Blood-Soul Galaxy commanders. Seeing his captains being killed one after another, the commander of the Blood-Soul Galaxy could no longer keep his calm. He said, "If we let this kid continue killing, our captains will be slaughtered. At that time, our soldiers will have no one to command them. They will definitely be defeated." When the Blood-Soul Galaxy's commander thought of this, he didn't want to continue watching on the sidelines. "What an arrogant kid! Let me have a taste of you!" The Blood-Soul Galaxy's commander shouted angrily before charging towards Mo Qingyun. He was prepared to deal with Mo Qingyun. The Blood-Soul Galaxy's commander released a terrifying aura the moment he made his move. He was clearly a quasi-universe-grade powerhouse. However, compared to Fan Ming and the others from the Underworld Sacred City, he was still several levels weaker. If Mo Qingyun went all out, it wouldn't be difficult to deal with him. However, Mo Qingyun would have some trouble dealing with the Blood Moon demonic zombie. More importantly, there were also several generals attacking together. His situation had become even more awkward. These fellows from the Blood-Soul Galaxy are indeed despicable people who don't keep their promises. Quick, let's stop them and rescue that disciple. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's predicament, Vice Commander Huang and the others immediately rushed towards Mo Qingyun. In a short while, Vice Commander Huang and the others rushed over and engaged in a fierce battle with the other party. After stopping the Blood-Soul Galaxy's commander, Vice Commander Huang smiled faintly and instructed Mo Qingyun, who was beside him, "Kid, we will stop these people. You go ahead and kill as many of them as you can." "Alright." When Mo Qingyun heard this, he nodded and continued to hunt down the captains. At the same time, Mo Qingyun's offensive became even stronger. Since the two sides had already clashed, he could no longer hold back. Thus, he began to hunt down the captains carefully. As Mo Qingyun's offensive became stronger, the captains of the Blood-Soul Galaxy were slaughtered like chickens and pottery dogs. Furthermore, when Mo Qingyun attacked, he didn't even let the ordinary soldiers off. Then, wherever Mo Qingyun passed, a scene of carnage would take place. In a short while, Mo Qingyun had slaughtered several captains and thousands of ordinary soldiers. Good. Vice Commander Huang was overjoyed to see Mo Qingyun's performance and praised him excitedly. Because of Mo Qingyun's participation, the Blood-Soul Galaxy's side had won the battle today. Retreat. Realizing that the situation wasn't right, the commander of the Blood-Soul Galaxy didn't linger and immediately ordered the entire army to retreat. He knew that with an anomaly like Mo Qingyun around, they would suffer even greater losses if they continued to fight. Following that, the soldiers of the Blood-Soul Galaxy began to retreat in defeat. After them, Vice Commander Huang immediately ordered when he saw that the Blood-Soul Galaxy's people were retreating. In his opinion, this was such a good opportunity. How could he not take advantage of it? After that, Mo Qingyun and the others pursued them madly, and they slaughtered the members of the Blood-Soul Galaxy to the point not a single one was left alive. As Mo Qingyun and the others chased after them, the continents occupied by the Blood-Soul Galaxy were occupied by Vice Commander Huang and the others. Vice Commander Huang knew his limits. After occupying a few cultivation continents, he didn't continue the chase. In his opinion, if they continued to chase, they would enter the hinterland of the Blood Soul Galaxy. At that time, the other party would attack them from the front and back. Their situation wouldn't be good. It was better to stop while they were ahead. As the battle ended, Vice Commander Huang naturally praised Mo Qingyun, who had contributed greatly to the battle. Not only that, but Vice Commander Huang also rewarded Mo Qingyun with 100,000 battle merits. An A-grade mission would only reward tens of thousands of battle merit. One could imagine how amazing the reward of 100,000 battle merits was. Mo Qingyun's reward of 100,000 battle merits made the other disciples envious. They couldn't help but feel a little gloomy. They had worked so hard to kill the soldiers, but the battle merits they earned were only a few hundred to 1,000. Mo Qingyun, on the other hand, had earned a reward of 100,000 battle merits not long after he arrived. It was true that comparing goods to goods was losing, and comparing people to people was killing. More importantly, they had mocked Mo Qingyun before, which made them feel like they had been slapped in the face. Chapter 26-23. When Mo Qingyun returned to the campsite, Tang Ying and the others had also returned. They were chatting and laughing along the way. It seemed that they had made good progress and had obtained a lot of military merit. After glancing at Tang Ying and the others, Mo Qingyun looked away and rushed toward the mission tent. "You are finally back." When Mo Qingyun arrived at the tent, Deacon Kwa was pleasantly surprised. He quickly went up to him. Mo Qingyun was puzzled by Deacon Kwa's reaction. It seemed that Deacon Kwa had something urgent to discuss with him. Although Mo Qingyun was surprised by Deacon Kwa's reaction, he did not think too much about it. "These are the corpses of the 10 captains." Mo Qingyun walked up to Deacon Kwa and took out the corpses of the captains. He threw them in front of Deacon Kwa. When Deacon Kwa saw the corpses, he was shocked. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to have completed the mission again. After pondering for a while, Deacon Kwa checked the corpses and confirmed their identities. Captains had a high status in the army. Therefore, the Skybowl Mountain sect had information about the captains of the Blood Soul Galaxy. Therefore, Deacon Kwa was able to confirm their identities with a simple check. "Give me your military merit badge." Deacon Kwa did not waste any time. He immediately distributed the military merits to Mo Qingyun. Upon hearing this, Mo Qingyun took out his military merit badge and handed it to Deacon Kwa. When Mo Qingyun handed over his military merit badge, Deacon Kwa also took out a jade slip that Deputy Commander Huang had given him. Although Deputy Commander Huang had promised to reward Mo Qingyun with 100,000 military merits, he had to distribute them to Deacon Kwa. "Deputy Commander Huang asked me to give this to you." Mo Qingyun took out the jade slip and handed it to Deacon Kwa. Looking at the jade slip, Deacon Kwa was stunned. He stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes. Apparently, he was surprised by Mo Qingyun's action. Deacon Kwa took the jade slip and scanned it with his divine sense. He was very puzzled. Soon, Deacon Kwa understood Vice Commander Huang's instructions. Then, the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. He obviously did not expect that Mo Qingyun would achieve such a shocking result at the front line where the two armies clashed. After all, Deacon Kwa was not an ordinary person. He soon calmed down and gave Mo Qingyun another share of the battle credit. "The commander wants to see you. Come with me." After Manager Kwa finished assigning Mo Qingyun the credits, he gave him some instructions and walked out of the mission tent. "Commander is looking for me?" Mo Qingyun was puzzled by Deacon Kwa's words, but he still followed him. In his opinion, Zhang Ji's urgent need to see him should be related to the A-grade mission. When Mo Qingyun walked out of the tent, Tang Ying and the others had just rushed over. All of them had puzzled looks on their faces. Looking at Deacon Kwa's solemn and hurried look, Tang Ying and the others were curious. Soon after, Tang Ying and the others followed him, wanting to know what had happened. After a while, Mo Qingyun entered Zhang Ji's tent under the gazes of Tang Ying and the others. Seeing this, Tang Ying and the others had a sudden realization. They roughly understood the reason behind this. A few days ago, they had heard that Zhang Ji had angrily returned to the camp and asked about Mo Qingyun's whereabouts. If they were not mistaken, Mo Qingyun must have angered Zhang Ji and caused Zhang Ji to look for him to punish him. Now, Deacon Kwa was leading Mo Qingyun into Zhang Ji's tent. Obviously, Zhang Ji had summoned Mo Qingyun to punish him. How do you think the commander will punish him? Mo Qingyun is a disciple of the sect. The commander has no right to punish him. He might disqualify him from taking the test. If he is disqualified, his battle credits will be wasted. Let's see how he can continue to be arrogant. Looking at Zhang Ji's tent, Tang Ying and the others whispered to each other. Inside Zhang Ji's tent, "Greetings, Commander." Mo Qingyun stood in the middle of the tent with a calm expression. He bowed to Zhang Ji and said, "May I know why the commander summoned me? I heard that you have accepted A-grade missions one after another, so I called you over to check on you." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Zhang Ji sorted out his words and said, "The Bloody Moon Demon is very strong. You were lucky enough to complete it. However, it is too dangerous for a Galaxy grade to accept an A-grade mission. This kind of behavior is not recommended." It is indeed because of the Bloody Moon Demon. Upon hearing Zhang Ji's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding, confirming his previous guess. After understanding this, Mo Qingyun said calmly, "Commander, there is no rule in the camp that states that Galaxy grades cannot accept A-grade missions." This, Mo Qingyun's reply left Zhang Ji at a loss for words. Mo Qingyun was right. Regarding the matter of accepting missions, there were indeed no written rules. Most importantly, no one was like Mo Qingyun, who could accept missions that were a grade higher than him. "Commander, your subordinate has something to report." Upon seeing that Zhang Ji was at a loss for words, Deacon Kwa immediately changed the topic and eased the atmosphere. Upon hearing Deacon Kwa's words, Zhang Ji's expression changed, and he turned his head curiously. Under Zhang Ji's gaze, Deacon Kwa took out a jade slip and handed it to him. Filled with curiosity, Zhang Ji received the jade slip and seeped his divine sense into it. Then, Zhang Ji digested the information in the jade strip. The results shocked him greatly. He really hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun would have such an amazing performance on the front line of the two armies. At the same time, when Mo Qingyun accepted the mission to kill the captain, he had an answer in his heart. It turns out that he obtained such a trump card in the bloody killing moon demon's lair. No wonder he was so confident. With more than 10 blood moon demonic corpses protecting him, Mo Qingyun wouldn't find it too difficult to go to the front line and kill the captain. Then, the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. He suddenly realized that he couldn't see through Luo Yunyang anymore. "Commander, if there is nothing else, I will take my leave first. I still have to accumulate military merit." Upon seeing Zhang Ji remain silent for a long time, Mo Qingyun broke the silence and bid him farewell. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Ji waved his hands and dismissed Mo Qingyun. Upon seeing this, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands and walked out of the tent. "Mo Qingyun, the commander summoned you. Is he giving you a great reward?" When they saw Mo Qingyun walk out, Tang Ying and the others all revealed cold smiles as if they were taking pleasure in his misfortune. As long as one wasn't an idiot, they could tell that Tang Ying's words carried a strong sense of mockery. Glancing at Tang Ying indifferently, Mo Qingyun didn't pay any attention to him. In his eyes, Tang Ying was just a clown. Mo Qingyun ignored Tang Ying, but Tang Ying wasn't willing to give up so easily. "Mo Qingyun, don't be in such a hurry to leave." Soon, Mo Qingyun's path was blocked by Tang Ying again. "Tell us, how did the commander reward you? Do you really want to know?" Emo Qingyun narrowed his eyes and a mocking smile appeared on his lips. But I won't tell you. What can you do? Chapter 26-24. Hearing Emo Qingyun's reply, the faces of Tang Ying and the rest immediately darkened. As far as they were concerned, Emo Qingyun was clearly toying with them. Following this, Tang Ying and the rest shifted their feet and blocked Emo Qingyun's path. Seeing that his path was blocked, Emo Qingyun's face darkened and he was displeased. He did not bother to argue with Tang Ying and the rest, but it did not mean that they could take advantage of him. Get lost! Emo Qingyun had lost his patience. He did not waste any more time and yelled at Tang Ying and the rest angrily. Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, the faces of Tang Ying and the rest darkened even more. Emo Qingyun had toyed with them earlier and they had yet to settle the score. Now that he had scolded them, it had crossed their bottom line. Emo Qingyun, if I don't teach you a lesson, who do you think you are? Pan Cheng's eyes turned cold, and he looked like he was about to attack. The rest of the people quickly backed away. In a short while, Emo Qingyun and Pan Cheng were confronting each other. Looking at Pan Cheng, Emo Qingyun's eyes turned cold, and he was about to teach him a lesson. At this moment, Zhang Ji and Tang Ying walked out of the tent and saw the scene. Zhang Ji yelled, "Stop, private fights are prohibited in the campsite." Under Zhang Ji's yell, Pan Cheng and the rest shuddered and immediately backed off. Emo Qingyun, on the other hand, stood in the same spot as if he did not care. He was not intimidated by Zhang Ji's words. Emo Qingyun, no matter what personal grudges you have, I don't want to settle them in the campsite. Seeing that Tang Ying and the rest had left, Zhang Ji spoke to Emo Qingyun in a stern tone. Emo Qingyun nodded his head at Zhang Ji's words and did not say anything. He basically understood the meaning of Zhang Ji's words. Zhang Ji was reminding him that as long as he left the camp, he could do whatever he wanted. Understanding Zhang Ji's meaning, Emo Qingyun did not stay any longer and walked into the mission tent. Not long after, Emo Qingyun received an A-grade mission and left the camp. This mission was to head to the Lone Soul continent and exterminate a faction called the Lone Soul Sect. The Lonely Soul Sect was very close to the battlefield and had been replenishing the Blood Soul Galaxy's forces. As far as Emo Qingyun knew, the Lonely Soul Sect's strength was average and only had one late-stage, Star Sector-level powerhouse. With Emo Qingyun's current strength, dealing with them was too easy. With a wave of his hand, he could easily flatten the Lonely Soul Sect with the power of dozens of Blood Moon devilish zombies. After Emo Qingyun left the camp, he set off for the Lonely Soul Sect. What surprised Emo Qingyun was that Pan Cheng and the others actually followed them. Looking at their posture, it seemed that they were unwilling to let this matter rest and wanted to teach him a lesson. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Discovering the intentions of Pan Cheng and the others, Emo Qingyun had a murderous intent and was ready to kill them. Immediately, Emo Qingyun slowed down his pace so that Pan Cheng and the others could not keep up. Not long after, Emo Qingyun stopped and looked at Pan Cheng and the others who were following him. You guys, come out. At Emo Qingyun's cold shout, Pan Cheng and the others showed up, no longer hiding. To Emo Qingyun's surprise, Tang Ying and the others did not follow. He said, "Only you guys, why didn't the others follow?" "Humph. I alone am enough to deal with you." In response to Emo Qingyun's question, Pan Cheng coldly snorted, not at all aware of his situation. As soon as Pan Cheng's words fell, his figure moved and he took the initiative to charge at Emo Qingyun, saying, "Emo Qingyun, there were people protecting you the last few times. Let's see where you're going to hide now." Ant-like thing. Looking at Pan Cheng, who was charging at him, Emo Qingyun's lips curled up and a cold snort flashed in his eyes. Then, Emo Qingyun pointed a finger and a terrifying finger light blasted out. The finger light blasted out and immediately exploded with a terrifying aura, enveloping Pan Cheng. So strong. Sensing the aura of the finger light, Pan Cheng's expression was immediately shocked and his face turned pale. The strength that Emo Qingyun displayed really scared him silly. He was secretly shocked. Could it be that Emo Qingyun didn't pick up the bloody killing moon demon and relied on his own strength to kill it? When this thought appeared in his mind, Pan Cheng was really frightened. If that was the case, then it was too terrifying. If that was the case, then how terrifying was Emo Qingyun's strength? When this thought appeared in Pan Cheng's mind, he felt a wave of regret. He should not have rashly looked for Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun, I was wrong. Understanding his situation, Pan Cheng began to beg for mercy. Unfortunately, before he could finish speaking, his head was pierced by the finger light. Under Emo Qingyun's finger, his primordial spirit was directly scattered, and his body and soul were instantly destroyed. Pan Cheng is dead. Seeing Pan Cheng's fate, the expressions of the few people behind trembled, and they were all stunned on the spot. Obviously, this result scared them quite a bit. After a brief moment of shock, they didn't dare to hesitate and immediately turned around to escape. In their opinion, Emo Qingyun killed Pan Cheng and might kill them to silence them. No matter what, Emo Qingyun killed a fellow disciple and would be punished by the sect. Humph. Knowing my secret, do you think I'll let you go? Looking at the few people escaping, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and blocked their path. Seeing that their path was blocked, their expressions changed drastically and their bodies began to tremble. Only at this moment did they realize the outcome of becoming enemies with Emo Qingyun and how much of an idiot they were previously. Was Emo Qingyun someone they could not provoke? As senior apprentice brother Emo, please spare us. We were also forced into a corner. Regarding today's matter, we absolutely won't speak of it. The few people had pleading looks, their complexions as pale as paper. Regarding the few people's assurances, Emo Qingyun naturally would not believe. He said indifferently, compared to your promises, I believe the dead people's words more. The moment Emo Qingyun's words faded, he waved his hand and instantly killed the few people. Finishing off Pan Cheng and the rest, Emo Qingyun's brows furrowed and he thought to himself, let Tang Ying and the rest escape. Hope that you all are sensible. Killing Pan Cheng and the rest, Emo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop and continued rushing towards the Lone Soul continent. The Lone Soul continent was not far away, so it did not take long for Emo Qingyun to arrive at the Lone Soul continent. When Emo Qingyun arrived at the Lone Soul continent, his footsteps did not stop as he rushed towards the Lone Soul sect. The Lone Soul sect was located in an ancient battlefield surrounded by terrifying evil spirits, making it difficult for outsiders to get close. When Emo Qingyun entered the battlefield, he encountered an evil spirit that blocked his path. These evil spirits were not weak. Basically, they were all above the galaxy grade and a few had even reached the celestial domain grade. Of course, given the strength of these evil spirits, they were unable to stop Emo Qingyun's footstep. After about half a day, Emo Qingyun arrived outside the Lone Soul sect. Chapter 26-25. The Solitary Soul sect's Great Protective Array is actually close to a level 5 sacred array. After discovering that the Solitary Soul sect's Great Protective Array was extraordinary, Emo Qingyun was even more certain that the Solitary Soul sect wasn't as simple as he had thought. When Emo Qingyun discovered this, he raised his guard and slowly approached the Solitary Soul sect. As he approached the Solitary Soul sect, Emo Qingyun saw some people enter the Solitary Soul sect mysteriously. When he saw this, Emo Qingyun hurriedly followed them and arrived at the Solitary Soul sect's forbidden area. When those people arrived at the forbidden area, they entered a secret room. Then Emo Qingyun lost his perception. Gone. When he discovered that his perception had been forcibly isolated by a force, Emo Qingyun was shocked. Then, he controlled his consciousness and carefully sensed the inside of the secret room. After a while, Emo Qingyun discovered that there was a very advanced spatial array in the secret room. The consciousness that Emo Qingyun had released had been isolated by this array. So there is a spatial array. The solitary soul sect is indeed not simple. When he sensed the existence of the spatial array, Emo Qingyun was certain that he couldn't investigate any further. Seeing this situation, Emo Qingyun thought to himself, in this case, if I want to continue investigating, I will have to capture one of them and seize their memories. When this thought occurred to Emo Qingyun, he silently waited for the people who had entered the secret room to come out. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, the identities of these people who had been able to enter the secret room were definitely not simple. As for making a move on the others, Emo Qingyun didn't consider it. Firstly, the people with low status might not know the secret of this place. Secondly, if he captured someone with a high status, he might inadvertently alert the enemy. Therefore, making a move on these people was the best choice. He would be able to directly explore the secret. While Emo Qingyun waited, time passed by bit by bit. Emo Qingyun waited for several hours. Finally, when Emo Qingyun couldn't wait any longer, the people came out with heavy expressions. What a dense blood qi! When they came out, Emo Qingyun felt a shocking blood qi from their bodies. Not only that, but the blood qi was surprisingly rich and varied. From Emo Qingyun's initial perception, he could tell that there were hundreds of different types of blood auras on these people. Collecting hundreds of types of blood, this action is somewhat similar to the dark demon race. The moment this thought appeared in his mind, Emo Qingyun's expression shook. His eyes were filled with shock as he thought, this lonely soul sect wouldn't be related to the dark demon race, right? If that was the case, it was definitely not good news for Emo Qingyun. The grudge between him and the dark demons had yet to be completely settled. After all, the first holy son of the dark devil race, Zi Qingrong, had escaped from the desolate continent. With the enmity between him and Emo Qingyun, there was no way he would let this go so easily. It seems that I have to investigate the secret of this lonely soul sect. The more Emo Qingyun thought about it, the more shocked he became. His curiosity about the lonely soul sect rose to a new level. Not only that, but the more Emo Qingyun analyzed, the more he felt that his guess was correct. As far as he knew, the dark demon race hadn't been exterminated but was hiding in an unknown corner. The actions of the lonely soul sect were extremely similar to the actions of the dark demon race. This was the best proof. Seeing those people leave, Emo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before following them. Following that, Emo Qingyun followed them and flew out of the lonely soul continent. It seems that the lonely soul sect should still have some forces on other continents. Following behind the group of people from the lonely soul sect, Emo Qingyun's mind spun quickly and he immediately thought of a possibility. In order to thoroughly understand the lonely soul sect's background, Emo Qingyun didn't act rashly and decided to observe first. With Emo Qingyun following him, he came to a battlefield and saw that they had entered a camp. As he had fought with the people from the Blood Soul Galaxy, Emo Qingyun was not unfamiliar with them. In addition, the enmity between the Blood Soul Galaxy and the Wood Source Galaxy made it easy for him to distinguish between the two sides. One side is the Blood Soul Galaxy's camp, the other side is the Wood Source Galaxy's camp. Emo Qingyun observed the battle, and he had a clear understanding of the origins of the two sides. What surprised Emo Qingyun was that the group of people from the Lonely Soul sect actually came to the Wood Source Galaxy's camp. This made the situation more complicated. The Longhu Mountain sect's camp issued a mission to exterminate the Lonely Soul sect, but they had connections with the Wood Source Galaxy's forces. This was too abnormal. It seems that things are getting more and more complicated. A heavy cloud of suspicion rose in Emo Qingyun's heart. The more it was like this, the more Emo Qingyun didn't dare to act rashly, and he decided to investigate carefully. Immediately, Emo Qingyun flew towards the Wood Source Galaxy's camp unhurriedly. On the battlefield between the Blood Soul Galaxy and the Wood Source Galaxy, the forces of the Wood Source Galaxy were allies. Therefore, Emo Qingyun's arrival in this force would not arouse their hostility. Of course, Emo Qingyun dared to make such a guarantee mainly because of his low status. If Zhang Ji came, if these people had ulterior motives, they would most likely be wary of him. After a while, Emo Qingyun entered the camp and prepared to inquire about some information about the Lonely Soul sect. What surprised Emo Qingyun was that Tang Ying and the others had also come and were walking towards him. He actually came to the Divine Wood Imperial camp. This really surprised me. Noticing Emo Qingyun's presence, Tang Ying immediately revealed a sinister smile. Obviously, he was up to no good. Then, Tang Ying walked towards Emo Qingyun and blocked Emo Qingyun's path, saying, "Emo Qingyun, we are really fated to meet here." Emo Qingyun ignored Tang Ying's words. He didn't have time to pay attention to him now. What he was thinking now was to figure out the Lonely Soul sect's purpose. Seeing Emo Qingyun ignoring him again, Tang Ying's face darkened and he shouted angrily, "Emo Qingyun, don't be too arrogant. In this Divine Wood Imperial camp, no one will come forward to protect you." "This is the Divine Wood Imperial camp?" Hearing Tang Ying's words, Emo Qingyun's eyelids twitched and his face revealed a look of surprise. This news really came as a surprise to him. If the Lonely Soul sect was the Dark Demon clan, didn't that mean that the Divine Wood Imperial camp was related to the Dark Demon clan? Emo Qingyun thought of this and had a guess about the Divine Wood Imperial camp's rebellion. There must be some secrets in this that Zi Shu doesn't know. Perhaps the Divine Wood Imperial camp's rebellion was instigated by the Dark Demon clan. Chapter 26. Just as Emo Qingyun was thinking, a young man in flame armor arrived beside Tang Ying. Tang Ying sneered when he saw this young man. "Emo Qingyun, this is my cousin, Wang Qinan. He's a 1,000-man commander of the Divine Wood Imperial camp. If you don't want to suffer, then obediently kowtow to me and admit your wrongs." Wang Qinan raised his head proudly after Tang Ying's introduction. He put on an air of superiority. Clearly, he was extremely proud of his status. This kind of identity might not be simple for ordinary people. But in Emo Qingyun's eyes, it didn't have the slightest weight. It would only make Emo Qingyun loathe him. Because of Wang Zishu, Emo Qingyun's impression of the Divine Wood Imperial family was extremely terrible. "Emo Qingyun, are you deaf? Can't you hear what I'm saying?" Seeing Emo Qingyun remain silent, Tang Ying immediately became displeased and impatient. Emo Qingyun frowned when he heard Tang Ying's noisy actions. A cold light flashed through his eyes. Under Emo Qingyun's cold gaze, the bodies of Tang Ying and the others trembled. They instinctively felt a wave of fear. Emo Qingyun's gaze was too terrifying. It was like a sharp sword stabbing into their minds. "I don't have time for you. You'd best scram." After berating them, Emo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. He prepared to go somewhere else to keep watch. With Tang Ying and the others disturbing him here, it wouldn't be very possible for him to keep watch on the Lonely Soul sect's people. Wang Qinan's gaze turned cold when he saw Emo Qingyun's actions. Fury appeared on his face. "Brat from the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, it looks like you haven't figured out your status. Let alone an inner sect disciple, even if you were a core disciple, I would still be able to kill you here." As soon as Wang Qinan finished speaking, he stretched out his hand and pressed it on Emo Qingyun's shoulder. He shouted, "Kneel down and kowtow to me to admit your mistake." Scram! Seeing Wang Qinan's actions, Emo Qingyun's gaze turned cold and a terrifying aura erupted from him. Under the impact of this aura, Wang Qinan, who bore the brunt of it, was immediately sent flying. Puff! Wang Qinan was sent flying. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned as pale as paper. At the same time, Wang Qinan's aura was also weakening rapidly. Seeing Wang Qinan's miserable state, Tang Ying was immediately stunned. She looked at Emo Qingyun in horror. He would never have thought that Emo Qingyun's strength would be so terrifying. Just a trace of his aura was enough to seriously injure Wang Qinan. If he were to go all out, how powerful would he be? Emo Qingyun, this is the Divine Wood Imperial Barrack. You can't run wild here. Thinking of where he was now, Tang Ying forced himself to remain calm and calm down the fear in his heart. However, who was Emo Qingyun? How could he allow Tang Ying to threaten him? So what if it's the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks? Emo Qingyun did not care about Tang Ying's threat at all. He looked at him with a cold gaze and said, "Originally, I wouldn't bother with a fly like you. However, you've been bothering me again and again, so I have to get rid of you." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he struck out a palm at Tang Ying and blasted out a terrifying saint power. When this saint power blasted out, it was like an earth-shattering wave that crushed down on Tang Ying. No, he's only at the peak of the galaxy grade. How could he have such terrifying strength? Sensing the aura of Emo Qingyun's palm, Tang Ying's face was as white as paper. He was so frightened that he started trembling. Clearly, the strength that Emo Qingyun was displaying now had completely exceeded his expectations. Due to Emo Qingyun's attack, the people of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks were attracted and immediately rushed over. Stop! Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, the people of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks who had rushed over immediately berated him loudly. Seeing the people of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks arrive, Tang Ying immediately sneered and felt smug. He said, "Emo Qingyun, even if you're powerful, it's not your turn to behave atrociously in the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks. How can mere captains of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks stop me from attacking?" In response to Tang Ying's smug words, Emo Qingyun's palm did not stop and continued to strike at Tang Ying. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Tang Ying was really scared and said in horror, Are you crazy? Even if you kill me, you won't be able to escape." Boom! Before Tang Ying could finish speaking, the palm shadow that Emo Qingyun blasted out drowned him. Then, a terrifying saint power wave surged in front of Emo Qingyun. "Looks like I can't continue investigating. I have to find another way." After killing Tang Ying with a wave of his palm, Emo Qingyun came to a realization and did not want to stay any longer. Then, his figure moved and flew out of the Divine Wood Imperial Barrack. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. When Emo Qingyun left the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks, the commanders and generals of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks came out of the barracks one after another. Everyone left the barracks and asked about the situation, then they chased after Emo Qingyun. "That kid was sneaking around and came to our barracks. He might have eavesdropped on our secret." Thinking of their secrets, the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks panicked a little. They did not dare to let Emo Qingyun escape. Their current actions were making an enemy of billions of races in the starry sky. The consequences were too serious. That kid is a disciple of the Skybull Mountain sect. Let's go directly to the Skybull Mountain sect's barrack. Thinking of Emo Qingyun's identity, the group of people from the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks immediately headed to the Skybull Mountain sect's barracks. As for the people from the Lonely Soul sect, Emo Qingyun did not notice them. They must have left quietly. After this incident, it will be difficult to follow in secret again. Emo Qingyun sighed inwardly. He did not care too much and decided not to hide anymore. Since he had already made his move, he would not regret it. Sooner or later they would have to fall out. "Well, let's start with you guys." Emo Qingyun made his decision. He did not continue to escape and directly faced the people from the Divine Wood Imperial Barrack. Although the strength of the people from the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks had reached the late-stage Star Second Stage, it was not difficult for Emo Qingyun to deal with them. "Kid from the Skybull Mountain sect, hurry up and tell us honestly. What is your purpose in coming to the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks?" When they saw Emo Qingyun stop, they were not in a hurry to attack. One of them questioned Emo Qingyun. While this person was questioning Emo Qingyun, the people accompanying him surrounded Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun did not care about their actions at all. He said with an indifferent expression, "Before I answer you guys, answer me a few questions first. What is the relationship between the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks and the Lonely Soul Sect? Is the Lonely Soul Sect related to the Dark Demon race?" Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the expressions of the people from the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks twitched. Judging from their behavior, it was as if their secret had been discovered by Emo Qingyun. Then, these people did not say anything else. They exchanged a look and attacked. Chapter 26-27. It seems like my guess is correct. Seeing everyone's performance, Emo Qingyun had an answer to his guess. The actions of these people clearly showed that they had a guilty conscience. As soon as they attacked, they exuded a terrifying aura. Their bodies were surrounded by waves of saint power. Divine Wood Shadow Palm, Divine Silver Snake Sword, 10,000 Mammoth Thunder Fist. One after another, powerful superpowers were used without holding back. Then, the shadows of palms, fists, and swords covered the light. Facing their superpowers, Emo Qingyun did not want to hold back. He decided to use his full strength. Emo Qingyun raised his hand and took out the Divine Nine-Bull Sword. It shone with 9-colored light. Golden Bull Sky Shattering Slash. Emo Qingyun waved the Divine Nine-Bull Sword and slashed out a golden sword light to meet the shadows of palms, fists, and swords. Facing the attack of the golden sword light, the superpowers used by those people were instantly defeated. So strong! This kid's strength has reached such a level. We were wrong. Don't hold back anymore. Seeing Emo Qingyun's strength, the few of them trembled and their expressions immediately tensed up. At this moment, they stopped looking down on Emo Qingyun and treated him as an opponent of the same level. Then, they no longer hesitated and attacked Emo Qingyun again. Courtesy demands reciprocity. It's my turn to attack now. After defeating their attacks with one sword, Emo Qingyun smiled mockingly and took the initiative to meet them. When Emo Qingyun met them, he waved the Divine Nine-Bull Sword in his hand again. It ignored defense. Lightning Bull Heaven Punishing Slash. As Emo Qingyun swung the Nine-Bull Divine Sword, the heavens and earth instantly changed colors. Thunderclouds gathered at an extremely fast speed. When the thunderclouds gathered, lightning bulls appeared. Their horns flashed with terrifying lightning arcs. Soon, the lightning arcs on their horns turned into lightning swords and blasted out. As the lightning swords blasted out, they enveloped the few of them. What a terrifying ability! This brat is too strong. He's not someone we can deal with. Take on his divine ability first, then return to the camp to ask for help. Looking at the streaks of lightning and sword auras coming towards them, they were terrified and didn't dare to fight with Emo Qingyun anymore. At the same time, they also used defensive divine abilities to block the attack of the lightning sword Radiant. However, what surprised them was that the defensive divine ability they used was completely useless against the lightning sword light. Then, these people were engulfed by the lightning sword rays and were bombarded by the lightning sword rays. Puff, under the bombardment of the lightning sword rays, their faces turned pale, and they immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. What made them even more shocked was that under the bombardment of the lightning sword rays, their bodies actually stiffened. He had actually lost control of his own body. This situation was too terrifying. If they couldn't even control their bodies, how could they fight Emo Qingyun? While they were still in shock, Emo Qingyun's attack didn't decrease. Instead, he slashed his sword at them again. A flaming sword light blasted out from the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and engulfed them. Fight! They looked determined when they saw the flaming sword light, which was even stronger, heading towards them. Immediately, they abandoned their physical bodies and used their primordial spirits to escape. You don't even have a physical body. Do you still think you can escape? Emo Qingyun sneered as he looked at their primordial spirits with disdain. Then, Emo Qingyun tossed the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and leaped onto it. Shadow Bull Storm Sword. Emo Qingyun stepped on the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and turned into a streak of light that fled towards their primordial spirits. Quasi-universe grade Chu Chen's flying speed wasn't as fast as Emo Qingyun's, let alone these people. Emo Qingyun quickly caught up to them and blocked their path. Emo Qingyun was chasing after them. Seeing that their path was blocked, the nascent spirits of these people all revealed panicked expressions. They couldn't beat Luo Yunyang or escape. It could be said that there was no worse outcome than this. Kid, don't meddle in other people's business. This won't do you any good. Seeing the situation they were in, one of the primordial spirits revealed a ruthless expression and warned Emo Qingyun. His warning might have had some effect on ordinary people. Unfortunately, it was useless against Emo Qingyun. Even though the dark demon race was strong, given Emo Qingyun's character, he wouldn't give in to them. You don't have to worry about whether I'm meddling in other people's business. Emo Qingyun didn't care about this person's warning. Instead, he started attacking them again. Venomous Bull Stomach Water Sword Art. A purple, misty sword light blasted out from the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and blasted towards the primordial spirits of these people. Soon, these people were enveloped by the sword mist and were corroded by a strong poison. The aura of these people's primordial spirits weakened rapidly due to the corrosion of the poison. However, they weren't weak, so they wouldn't die immediately. However, their flying speed was greatly affected because their primordial spirits had been corroded by the poison. As a result, they had no chance of escaping from Emo Qingyun. Since you aren't willing to answer my question, I'll find the answer myself. Emo Qingyun glanced at these people and reached out with his palm to capture one of their primordial spirits. A huge palm shadow instantly cut off that person's escape route like an inescapable net. Then, that person was captured by the palm shadow like a little chick. You. Let go of me. Seeing that he was captured, this person's primordial spirit panicked and immediately shouted at Emo Qingyun. Unfortunately, Emo Qingyun chose to ignore his words. Demonic eye soul stealing. After capturing the other party's primordial spirit, Emo Qingyun's eyes emitted a dark light. Then, 2 rays of light blasted out and turned into a huge eyeball. When this eyeball was formed, it shot out a ray of light and enveloped this person's primordial spirit. Ah! Under the solidification of the demonic eye, this person's memories were snatched away, and he screamed miserably. After a while, this person's screams stopped and his primordial spirit began to dissipate. Seeing this person's actions, the remaining people's faces turned ashen and they felt a bone-chilling chill. This way of dying was too torturous. Emo Qingyun didn't care about their thoughts at all and began to digest that person's memories. Unfortunately, that person's status wasn't high and he knew very little. In his memories, he only knew that the Divine Wood Imperial family and the Lonely Soul sect had joined forces to carry out a shocking secret. As for the strength behind the Lonely Soul sect, they didn't know anything. Emo Qingyun was clearly dissatisfied with such an outcome and looked at the others. Sensing Emo Qingyun's gaze, the remaining people's primordial spirits trembled in midair. Chapter 26-28. Before long, under Emo Qingyun's attack, these people's memories were all stripped away. Emo Qingyun did not obtain much useful information from their memories. He only knew that the Lonely Soul sect was very mysterious. The only thing that satisfied Emo Qingyun was that the rebellion of the Divine Wood royal family was indeed controlled by a faction. The current Divine Wood royal family had actually become a puppet. This faction controlled the Divine Wood royal family and mainly collected the blood of various races through galactic wars. From the looks of it, this so-called galactic war seems to be a conspiracy of this faction. When Emo Qingyun discovered this, he felt a chill run down his spine. He sighed at the ruthlessness of this faction. In order to satisfy their blood needs, they did not hesitate to launch a galactic war, causing terrifying casualties. Emo Qingyun sighed inwardly. He did not think about this problem. It was not something he should care about. After discarding the distracting thoughts in his mind, Emo Qingyun began to think about how to figure out the origins of the Lonely Soul sect. From the looks of it, if I want to figure out the origins of the Lonely Soul sect, I have to start with those people. In that case, I'll head to the Lonely Soul sect again. Emo Qingyun made up his mind. He did not delay any longer and rushed to the Lonely Soul sect again. With the previous experience, Emo Qingyun headed to the Lonely Soul sect again. It was a walk in the park for him. Half a day later, Emo Qingyun came to the Lonely Soul sect again. He carefully went to the forbidden area and continued to observe the Lonely Soul sect's actions. Under Emo Qingyun's observation, the people who had left previously re-entered the secret chamber. If I'm not wrong, these people should be heading to the Divine Wood Royal Camp to get blood. Hiding in the Lonely Soul sect's forbidden area, Emo Qingyun guessed the purpose of those people heading to the Divine Wood Royal Camp. When Emo Qingyun thought of this, he had a bold guess. He thought to himself, since they need blood, I'm afraid it won't be long before they leave again. With this in mind, Emo Qingyun patiently guarded the Lonely Soul sect's forbidden area. He waited for half a day. He's out. Seeing them leave the secret chamber, Emo Qingyun's expression flickered, and a look of expectation appeared on his face. Whether his guess was correct or not, he would soon find out. Soon after, Emo Qingyun once again quietly followed behind these people. They didn't notice Emo Qingyun following them at all. They didn't expect someone to follow them. As for the matter of the Divine Wood Imperial Camp, they did not care at all, only treating it as a small interlude. They naturally didn't think that a galaxy-grade kid would be able to affect their grand plan. Not long after, Emo Qingyun followed a few people out of the Lonely Soul sect. After coming out of the Lonely Soul sect, Emo Qingyun prepared to take action and rob these people of their memories. However, seeing their actions, Emo Qingyun stopped and said in surprise, the way these people are going seems to be different from the last time. Could it be that they are going to another place? When Emo Qingyun thought of this, he was not in a hurry to take action and decided to observe for a while more. Then, Emo Qingyun controlled the Blood Cloud airship and silently followed behind those people. Not long after, Emo Qingyun followed the few people and left the Lonely Soul continent again. In this way, Emo Qingyun followed for several hours and had an answer to the curiosity in his heart. The destination of these people's trip was actually the Blood Soul Galaxy's camp. Sure enough, they are also involved with the Blood Soul Galaxy. These guys are really not simple. When those people entered the Blood Soul Galaxy's camp, Emo Qingyun did not follow them and hid on a starry sky island. Previously, there had been an unforeseen event in the Divine Wood Imperial camp, so Emo Qingyun did not want to have another incident. Moreover, according to Emo Qingyun's inference, these people would return to the Lonely Soul sect soon. When the time came, it would not be too late to make a move on them. There was no need to rush. At this moment, while Emo Qingyun was waiting, he made a shocking discovery. The Dark Demon race hunted other races and extracted their blood, which would definitely attract the attention of other races. But if there was a war between the galaxies, there would definitely be casualties and a large number of corpses to deal with. When dealing with these corpses, extracting their blood would definitely not attract attention. It had to be said that this was an excellent means of cover. With this discovery, Emo Qingyun was even more certain that the Lonely Soul sect was related to the Dark Demon race. Not long after, under Emo Qingyun's waiting, those people left the camp. Then, without stopping, they began to rush back to the Lonely Soul sect. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun quietly followed and returned to the Lonely Soul continent together. Emo Qingyun followed for a while. He did not hide any more and blocked their path. According to his inference, the general situation of the matter was out. He only needed to confirm it again. As their path was blocked, The people from the Lonely Soul sect came to a halt. Under their gazes, Emo Chingyun walked out of the blood cloud airship and stood in front of them. It's that kid. He's still alive. This kid seems to have been following us. It seems that he has some ulterior motives. Humph. Who cares what he's up to? If he obstructs us, he's courting death. After these few words, they lost their patience and rushed toward Emo Chingyun together. In their eyes, Emo Chingyun was just an ant. They could kill him with a wave of their hand. You're quite straightforward. Seeing their actions, Emo Chingyun curled the corners of his mouth, and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Then, he didn't say anything else and went to greet them. When Emo Chingyun went to meet them, a shocking scene appeared before him. He found that these people's bloodlines were very powerful, far more powerful than ordinary bloodlines. Even the absolute beginning dark creation bloodline was not much stronger than these people's bloodlines. This bloodline seems to be a little different from the dark devil race. Sensing the situation of their bloodlines, Emo Chingyun was puzzled and said, "Maybe the dark devil race from the outer realm is more skillful in planting bloodlines." While Emo Chingyun was feeling surprised, his current performance also surprised the other people. This kid is actually completely fine under the suppression of my bloodline. With his cultivation, he's actually not affected by the bloodline suppression. He must have an amazing bloodline. If that's the case, we'll be greatly rewarded if we take their bloodline. Now we're planting waste blood. If only we could plant 10,000 generation archaic bloodline. Discovering that Emo Chingyun's bloodline was extraordinary, these people whispered with greed in their eyes. At this moment, Emo Chingyun was like a treasure in their eyes. Noticing their gazes, Emo Chingyun narrowed his eyes and guessed their thoughts. Then, without hesitation, Emo Chingyun took out the divine sword of 9 bulls. Chapter 26-29. Lightning Bull punishing Heaven Sword Array. Seeing the few people attacking him, Emo Chingyun slashed out with his sword. Lightning surged on the 9 bull divine sword. Immediately after, the lightning shot into the sky and formed a huge lightning net. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the lightning net appeared, many silver dragons that resembled flood dragons flew out of it. The silver lightning fell and turned into a lightning cage, trapping the few people inside. When the few people were trapped in the lightning cage, they were shocked and their eyes were filled with shock. Obviously, the combat prowess that Emo Chingyun displayed shocked all of them greatly. They originally thought that with Emo Chingyun's cultivation, it would be like crushing an ant. Who knew that this ant was not simple and actually had terrifying strength? This kid is a little strange. Everyone, don't let your guard down. The leader of the few people noticed that something was wrong with Emo Chingyun and immediately reminded the few people. Hearing this person's reminder, the few people's expressions became tense. It seemed that because of Emo Chingyun's shocking performance, they stopped underestimating him. The few of them exchanged glances, and their eyes revealed a hint of ruthlessness. Immediately, the few of them no longer hesitated and rushed towards Emo Chingyun together. Facing the few people's attack, Emo Chingyun once again waved the 9 bull divine sword and slashed at the few people. It ignored defense. Poison Bull Abdominal Water Sword Technique. A purple poisonous fog sword light blasted out from the 9 bull divine sword like a purple dragon flying out. For a moment, under the cover of the poisonous fog sword light, the lightning cage was dimmed. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Under the attack of the poisonous fog sword light, the few people's superpower immediately dissipated in midair. Looking at the way the superpower dissipated, it seemed that the saint energy was eroded by the poisonous fog. What kind of superpower is this? It can actually corrode our superpower. This kid's strength is stronger than we thought. We can't let our guard down. Alright, let's go all out and try to kill him in one blow. Seeing that their superpower was broken, the few of them trembled and their expressions became even more ruthless. Immediately, The few of them attacked again to defend against the poison bull abdominal water sword. Unfortunately, their defensive abilities were completely useless against the poison mist sword light. Puft, puft, puft. The poisonous fog sword light passed through their superpower and enveloped them, eroding their bodies. Under the corrosion of the poisonous fog, their bodies began to rot, and hideous wounds appeared on their bodies. The poisonous fog will corrode the primordial spirit. Quick, give up your body. Seeing his situation, one of the few people reminded everyone with a frightened expression. Hearing this person's words, the few people beside him hesitated for a moment before they gave up their bodies. After abandoning their bodies, they didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately fled out of the lightning cage. However, when they touched the lightning cage, they were attacked primordial lightning power. And primordial spirit was weakened primordial spirit. What made them even more shocked, primordial water spirit. Primordial spirit. When they realized this, despair appeared on their faces. Their primordial spirit's faces were ashen. I hope your memories will be of some help to me. Seeing his performance, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up into a faint smile. He began to take away one person's memories. Emo Qingyun raised his hand and a primordial spirit was captured in front of him. The demonic eye robbed him of his memories. Not long after, as this person's memories were robbed, his consciousness also dissipated. Brat, how dare you kill Zhoda? Just wait to be hunted down. Seeing that his companion was killed, one of the primordial spirits regained his freedom and immediately roared at Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun did not care about this person's roar at all. It was as if he did not hear it at all. Thinking of Emo Qingyun's powerful strength, one of the primordial spirits had a gloomy expression and said, I'm afraid we can't leave today. In that case, we can't let this brat have it easy. We have to create some trouble for him. After this person finished speaking, he looked at the people around him and asked for their opinions. Hearing this person's question, the remaining few people all nodded their heads in agreement. Then, these people began to form hand seals to draw out the blood in their bodies. When the blood appeared, it fused with each other and bloomed with dazzling bloody light. Then, a hexagonal blood saint rune flew toward Emo Qingyun. Seeing these people's actions, Emo Qingyun was shocked and stopped digesting the stolen memories. Seeing the hexagonal saint rune getting closer and closer, Emo Qingyun did not dare to underestimate it and immediately blocked it. Emo Qingyun swung his right arm and slashed the Nine-Bull Divine sword at the hexagonal saint rune. But to Emo Qingyun's surprise, the hexagonal blood saint rune was not damaged at all. Then, the hexagonal blood saint rune was imprinted into Emo Qingyun's body. Kid, this is the 6-star sharpness blood curse. With it in your body, you'll be hunted down. Seeing the hexagonal blood saint rune imprinted into Emo Qingyun's body, a smug sneer appeared on his face. Just as this person's smug expression appeared, his and the other people's primordial spirits began to dissipate bit by bit. It seemed that they had paid a great price to use this superpower. Humph! Before I'm hunted down, all of you should go down first. Hearing that person's words, Emo Qingyun's face turned cold and he slashed at their primordial spirit. As Emo Qingyun waved his sword, an imposing sword light blasted the primordial spirits of several people. After being struck by Emo Qingyun's sword, their primordial spirits instantly dispersed and vanished into thin air in the blink of an eye. After killing the people from the Lonely Soul sect, Emo Qingyun said regretfully, "It's a pity that these people used a secret technique that caused their primordial spirits to dissipate. Otherwise, I would have been able to extract more from their memories." He had obtained an important piece of information from that person's memories. There was actually a half-step universe-grade powerhouse in the Lonely Soul sect. More importantly, that half-step universe-grade powerhouse had also comprehended a trace of spatial nomological laws. Given Emo Qingyun's current strength, encountering such a powerhouse would be extremely troublesome. Fortunately, I didn't enter the secret room rashly. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for me to come out. Emo Chinyun rejoiced when he thought about the strength of the Lonely Soul sect. However, he soon frowned again. If I can't enter the Lonely Soul sect, I won't be able to determine if they are related to the Dark Demon race. This outcome made Emo Chinyun feel a little vexed. This was going to be troublesome. After racking his brains for a while, Emo Chinyun decided not to stay any longer. He immediately returned to the Divine Heavenly Bull Sect's camp. Chapter 26:30 Sky Bull Mountain Sect's Camp. When Emo Chinyun returned to the camp, he noticed that Vice Commander Huang and the others were also returning to the camp. When Vice Commander Huang saw Emo Chinyun, he immediately let out a bright smile and greeted Emo Chinyun. "Little guy, where did you come from? When will you go to the front line again and fight with me?" "Greetings, Vice Commander Huang, generals." Arriving in front of Vice Commander Huang and the others, Emo Chinyun had a humble expression on his face. He bowed to everyone and said, "If there is a chance, I will definitely go to the front lines and fight alongside everyone. I'll be waiting." Vice Commander Huang laughed when he heard Emo Chinyun's reply. He did not take it too seriously. He knew that when Emo Chinyun returned to the Skybull Mountain sect, he would be heavily groomed by the sect. A disciple like Emo Chinyun would not be allowed to go to the front line and fight with thousands of soldiers. If anything happened to Emo Chinyun, it would be a huge loss for the Skybull Mountain sect. "You look travel-worn. You must have encountered something urgent." Vice Commander Huang's eyes were sharp. He sized up Emo Chinyun and noticed that something was wrong with Emo Chinyun. When he heard Vice Commander Huang's words, Emo Chinyun nodded with a heavy expression and said, "I did encounter something important. I'm about to report it to the commander." "Oh?" Vice Commander Huang was shocked. He realized the seriousness of the matter and said, "I'm about to meet the commander. Let's go together." "Okay." Emo Chinyun nodded and walked towards Zhang Ji's tent with Vice Commander Huang. Soon, Emo Chinyun and the others arrived at the tent and saw Zhang Ji discussing something with someone. When he saw Emo Chinyun and the others enter, Zhang Ji was shocked. He glanced at Emo Chinyun and the others. Clearly, he hadn't expected Emo Chinyun to come with Zhang Ji. "Little fellow, what do you have to report? Tell the commander first." When they arrived at the tent, Vice Commander Huang gestured to Emo Chinyun to let him speak first. Hearing Vice Commander Huang's words, Emo Chinyun no longer hid anything. He said in a deep voice, "Commander, when I received the mission to exterminate the Lonely Soul sect, I made a major discovery. Not only is the Lonely Soul sect involved with the Blood Soul Galaxy, but they are also secretly colluding with the Divine Wood Imperial Barrack." "Is there such a thing?" Emo Chinyun's report gave Zhang Ji and the others quite a scare. It had to be said that Emo Chinyun's news was too shocking. It was something they had never imagined. In their understanding, the reason why the Wood Origin Galaxy and Blood Soul Galaxy were fighting was because of the conflict between the Divine Wood Imperial family and the Blood Soul Imperial family. Zhang Ji muttered to himself for a moment. Then, with a serious expression, he said, "Emo Chinyun, this is a serious matter. Are you sure you're not mistaken?" "I'm sure." Emo Chinyun nodded solemnly. After a slight hesitation, he said, "In addition, during the confrontation between the two galaxies, the Divine Wood Imperial family and the Blood Soul Imperial family are collecting blood for the Lonely Soul sect for some unknown reason." Hearing Emo Chinyun's words, Zhang Ji and the others were stunned. They all frowned. If what Emo Chinyun said was true, this matter was too serious. "Vice Commander Huang, come with me to the Lonely Soul sect and investigate this matter." Realizing the seriousness of the matter, Zhang Ji did not dare to delay and went to deal with the matter personally. He felt that if what Emo Chinyun said was true, this would affect the development of the Skybull Mountain sect. Alright. Vice Commander Huang nodded in agreement. Seeing Zhang Ji and Zhang Ji's actions, Emo Qingyun looked nervous and hurriedly said, "Commander, please wait." Zhang Ji and Zhang Ji turned their heads and looked at Emo Qingyun with a puzzled expression. They did not understand why he stopped them. Under their puzzled gazes, Emo Qingyun pondered deeply for a moment before he said, "I was noticed by them when I was observing them from the shadows. On my way back, I killed members of the Lone Soul sect and Divine Wood Imperial Barrack. If all of you head over now, then you might fall into their ambush." After listening to Emo Qingyun's explanation, Zhang Ji and Zhang Ji nodded. They felt that this was indeed the case. With this thought in mind, Vice Commander Huang asked, "Do you have any good suggestions regarding this matter? Why don't you tell me? I think we can just wait and see what happens." Under Vice Commander Huang's questioning, Emo Qingyun explained his thoughts and analyzed the situation for the two of them. "I caused quite a commotion earlier. If I'm not wrong, they will definitely come here to denounce me when they find out that the people in the camp have been killed." Zhang Ji and Zhang Ji nodded, feeling that Emo Qingyun's analysis was correct. However, when Zhang Ji and Zhang Ji agreed, they also had some doubts. After all, this matter was only said by Emo Qingyun alone. There was no evidence at all. What if Emo Qingyun made it up out of thin air and had some other intentions? There was no other way. The implications of this matter were too great. They could not afford to be careless. Thinking so, Vice Commander Huang showed an apologetic expression and said to Emo Qingyun in a deep voice, "Qingyun, this matter is of great importance. Please forgive us for being suspicious. How can you prove that what you said is true?" Emo Qingyun had already expected Zhang Ji and the others to be suspicious, so he was not surprised when he heard it. "I got this blood from them. I think it's the best proof." As Emo Qingyun spoke, he took out a jade tablet and handed it to Zhang Ji and the others. When Emo Qingyun killed the people from the Lonely Soul sect, he obtained these jade bottles from them. Seeing Emo Qingyun take out the jade bottles, Zhang Ji and the others tensed up and carefully examined the jade bottles. Then, Zhang Ji and the others opened the jade bottles and a thick blood qi spread out from them. What a thick blood qi! There is so much blood. At least 10,000 people must have been killed. Looking at the jade tablet in his hand, Zhang Ji's eyes were filled with shock. He was frightened by this situation. Just one jade bottle contained the blood of 10,000 people. One could imagine how much blood these jade bottles contained in total. Zhang Ji did a rough count and found that there were close to 100 jade bottles. Didn't this mean that there was the blood of 1,000,000 people? Hiss! Thinking of this, Zhang Ji sucked in a breath of cold air. Slaughtering 1,000,000 people to collect their blood was too cruel. At the same time, he believed most of Emo Qingyun's words. With Emo Qingyun's strength, it was impossible for him to collect so much blood in such a short time. In this way, the blood in Emo Qingyun's hands should have been obtained from the Lonely Soul sect. The Lonely Soul sect should have obtained this blood from the dead soldiers through the Galactic War. In a short moment, Zhang Ji figured out the reason. "Deputy Commander Huang, what do you think of this matter?" After figuring out the reason, Zhang Ji turned his head and asked Deputy Commander Huang for his opinion. Hearing Zhang Ji's words, Deputy Commander Huang thought for a moment and said, "I think Qingyun's suggestion is very good. We should wait and see." "Well, I think so too." Zhang Ji nodded in agreement and felt that this was the best thing to do. Knowing the conspiracy of the Galactic War, they naturally didn't want to fight anymore and let the Lonely Soul sect benefit in the dark. Hearing Zhang Ji and Deputy Commander Huang's thoughts, Emo Qingyun hesitated for a moment and said, "Commander, if the three sides of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks join forces, I think that with our strength, we might not be a match. We might as well withdraw to the sect first and then make plans." Emo Qingyun's suggestion made Zhang Ji and Deputy Commander Huang hesitate, and for a moment, they couldn't decide what to do. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and others were talking, an angry shout came from outside. Zhang Ji, get out here. That's enough, Zhang Ji, you actually connived with the soldiers and went to my Divine Wood Imperial Barracks to cause trouble. Hand over that Mo Qingyun, or don't blame us for being impolite. A series of clamors entered the ears of Mo Qingyun and others. Hearing these words, Mo Qingyun and others were shocked, and a hint of surprise appeared on their faces. It had to be said that the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks moved really quickly, and they came to condemn them so quickly. Let's go out and take a look. Hearing the clamor outside the camp, Zhang Ji lifted his foot and walked out of the tent. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun and others hurriedly followed and met the people of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks together. In a short while, the two sides confronted each other, and they were in a state of mutual hostility. Zhang Ji, the good soldier that you taught, actually ran to my Divine Wood Imperial Barracks to cause trouble. Could it be that the Skybull Mountain sect wants to rebel? Seeing Zhang Ji come out of the tent, a person in the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks had a gloomy expression and immediately pinned a big hat on Zhang Ji. Hearing this person's words, Zhang Ji similarly revealed a cold look and said, I haven't questioned you all yet. Why are you secretly colluding with the Lone Soul sect, but you guys are the guilty party complaining first. You? What did you say? Under Zhang Ji's questioning, that person's expression clearly twitched, and his gaze flickered quickly. Clearly, Zhang Ji's words exposed the secret in their hearts. Although the other party tried his best to conceal it, Zhang Ji and others' gazes were so sharp, and they immediately caught something amiss. Immediately, Zhang Ji completely believed what Mo Qingyun said. That person quibbled, and his expression calmed down. He shouted in an overbearing manner again, Don't change the topic with me. We came here today not to talk about these useless things with you all. Hand over Mo Qingyun for me at once. Want us to hand over Mo Qingyun? This is something impossible. Regarding that person's request, Zhang Ji directly refused, and shielded Mo Qingyun behind him. When Zhang Ji blocked Mo Qingyun, the face of Wang Qinan, who was beside that person, turned black. Raising his hand, he pointed at Mo Qingyun and said, Clan Uncle Guoxin, that kid is Mo Qingyun. He was the one who killed Tang Ying previously. Following the direction of Wang Qinan's finger, Wang Guoxin saw Mo Qingyun, and his face immediately darkened. When Wang Guoxin glared at Mo Qingyun, Zhang Ji and the rest revealed looks of surprise, turning their heads to look at Mo Qingyun one after another. The conflict between Tang Ying and Mo Qingyun had already been discovered by Zhang Ji previously. It was just that what surprised him was that Mo Qingyun actually killed Tang Ying. This move was really ruthless enough. Seeing Zhang Ji's expression, Mo Qingyun knew what he was thinking and said, Tang Ying is Wang Qinan's cousin. He entered my Heavenly Bull Mountain sect as a spy planted by the Divine Wood Imperial camp. His identity was exposed by me, so he wanted to kill me to silence me. Unexpectedly, he was killed by me instead. Mo Qingyun explained the matter in a half-true, half-false manner. Chapter 26:31. To actually arrange a spy in the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, the Divine Wood Imperial family indeed has ulterior motives. Because of Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Ji's impression of the Divine Wood Imperial family instantly worsened to the extreme. In his opinion, the Divine Wood Imperial family's actions were clearly plotting against the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. If it wasn't for Mo Qingyun exposing it, wouldn't the Heavenly Bull Divine sect become a mere figurehead in the long run? Zhang Ji, don't be shameless. You can't bear the wrath of the Divine Wood Imperial family. Seeing that Zhang Ji didn't say anything for a long time, Wang Guoxin was a little impatient and warned with a displeased tone. However, Zhang Ji didn't back down in the face of his threat at all. He said coldly, There's no need to say anything unnecessary. If you want to deal with Mo Qingyun, just bring it on. When Zhang Ji said this, Deputy Commander Huang and the others immediately drew their swords. Soon, the atmosphere between both sides became tense and filled with the smell of gunpowder. Looking at the actions of Zhang Ji and the others, Wang Guoxin was so angry that his face twitched and became as dark as ink. He didn't expect that Zhang Ji would actually disobey the orders of the Divine Wood Imperial family because of a disciple. But due to the strength of Zhang Ji and the others, Wang Guoxin didn't dare to make a move. He gnashed his teeth and shouted coldly, "Zhang Ji, I'll remember today's matter. I'll slowly settle the score with you another day." After Wang Guoxin said this, he left with his subordinates with a sense of unwillingness. He knew very well that if both sides fought head-on, they wouldn't be able to gain the slightest advantage. It was better to go back and organize the troops first and come back another day to get back at them. At that time, if Zhang Ji still dared to stop him, he would directly flatten the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect's camp. Wang Guoxin is a sinister and narrow-minded person. I'm afraid that he won't let us off after we infuriated him like this. Looking at Wang Guoxin and the others leaving, Zhang Ji frowned and immediately made a decision. He said, "Deputy Commander Huang, immediately gather the disciples and soldiers. We'll return to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect immediately to prevent Wang Guoxin from gathering troops to take revenge." Yes. Hearing Zhang Ji's instructions, Deputy Commander Huang went to gather the soldiers and disciples. Under Deputy Commander Huang and the others' summons, disciples and soldiers quickly gathered and stood in an orderly manner outside the camp. "All right, since everyone is here, let's set off." Seeing that everyone had arrived, Zhang Ji didn't wish to delay any further and directly returned to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. Then, Zhang Ji led the crowd toward the teleportation portal. "What happened? Why did you suddenly return to the sect?" "It seems to be because Emo Qingyun killed the people of the Divine Wood Imperial Barracks to prevent them from taking revenge on us. It's Emo Qingyun again. This guy really knows how to cause trouble." On the way back, everyone whispered to each other. After some discussion, everyone knew the reason for the return trip, and their impression of Emo Qingyun became even worse. However, when they saw Emo Qingyun standing beside Zhang Ji, they revealed envious expressions. The fact that Emo Qingyun could stand beside Zhang Ji was undoubtedly a sign of his status. It proved that Zhang Ji valued him very much. When everyone entered the teleportation portal, Emo Qingyun pondered in his heart and analyzed his current situation. He thought to himself, Tang Ying was recommended to the sect by Jiang Mu. There must be some collusion between Jiang Mu and the Divine Wood Imperial family. If he finds out that Tang Ying was killed by me, he definitely won't let it go so easily. He will definitely think of ways to deal with me. I have to be on guard against him. When Emo Qingyun thought of this, he raised his guard and became more vigilant against Jiang Mu. In addition, what made Emo Qingyun even more worried was that the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect had other spies. It seems that I can only take one step at a time and deal with whatever comes my way. Understanding his current situation, Emo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. He planned for the worst and thought to himself, if it really doesn't work, I can only leave the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect and directly confront the Divine Wood Imperial family. Several hours later, everyone returned to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect through the teleportation portal. After returning to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect, Zhang Ji instructed a general, General Yun Hao, "You guys settle down the soldiers. I'll bring Emo Qingyun into the sect first." "Yes." Hearing Zhang Ji's instructions, General Yun Hao bowed and accepted the order. Following that, Zhang Ji brought Emo Qingyun and walked into the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect together. Not long after, Emo Qingyun followed Zhang Ji and arrived at the Great Assembly Hall. Zhang Ji's sudden arrival surprised everyone in the hall. Each and every one of them revealed a surprised expression. Zhang Ji suddenly returned from the star battlefield. There must be something important. Compared to everyone who was surprised by Zhang Ji's return, Tai Balong was even more surprised that Emo Qingyun came along. Could it be that Emo Qingyun caused some trouble and was personally escorted back to the sect by Zhang Ji? Looking at Emo Qingyun beside Zhang Ji, Tai Balong pondered and guessed the reason for Emo Qingyun's arrival. In his understanding, Emo Qingyun was very good at causing trouble. It wouldn't be strange for him to cause trouble in the Star Battlefield camp. Zhang Ji, you suddenly returned to the sect. Did something big happen on the Star Battlefield? Looking at Zhang Ji in the center of the hall, the sect master of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, Guang Ping, asked curiously. Hearing Guang Ping's question, Zhang Ji nodded solemnly and said, "Something important has indeed happened. We found out that the Star Battlefield War is being controlled by a mysterious force. Both the Divine Wood Imperial family and the Blood Soul Imperial family are colluding with it." Zhang Ji's words caused an uproar in the hall. Everyone revealed a shocked expression. This news that Zhang Ji brought gave them quite a shock. The Star Battlefield War is being controlled by a force? Is this a joke? What? The Divine Wood Imperial family and the Blood Soul Imperial family are colluding? How is that possible? Ridiculous. If the two Imperial families are colluding, why would they start the Star Battlefield War? As for the so-called mysterious force, I think it's even more nonsense. While everyone was shocked, a few people's faces darkened and questioned the authenticity of Zhang Ji's words. When those people questioned Zhang Ji, Emo Qingyun silently remembered them and secretly raised his guard against them. Emo Qingyun felt that these people were overreacting. They might be spies from the Divine Wood Imperial family. "Everyone, please be quiet." Seeing everyone's reaction, Guang Ping raised his hand and calmed everyone down. He said, "Zhang Ji, your news is too shocking. Tell us the details and how you can prove that what you said is true." "Yes." Hearing Guang Ping's words, Zhang Ji nodded and took out the jade token that Emo Qingyun gave him. "Sect Master, Elders, these bottles contain blood. Emo Qingyun went to destroy the Lonely Soul sect and obtained it from the disciples of the Lonely Soul sect. The Lonely Soul sect is a force that colluded with the two imperial families. They were the ones who instigated the Star Battlefield War." Hearing Zhang Ji's words, Guang Ping's eyes narrowed and he couldn't help but glance at Emo Qingyun. Obviously, he didn't expect that Zhang Ji was in a hurry to return to the sect because of an inner sect disciple. However, although Guang Ping was a little surprised, he didn't immediately point it out. Guang Ping raised his hand and picked up a jade bottle. He opened it and checked it. As the jade bottle was opened, a strong blood aura escaped from it. The blood in this bottle can only be collected by killing at least 10,000 people. After checking the bottle, Guang Ping was shocked and determined the amount of blood. In this way, the blood in nearly 100 bottles was collected by killing millions of people. Thinking of this, Guang Ping nodded in understanding. He knew why Zhang Ji was so anxious. This matter was indeed not simple. He couldn't be the slightest bit careless and had to take it seriously. "Zhang Ji, you rushed back to the sect because of a disciple's words. Aren't you being too irresponsible?" After everyone had checked the blood, the person who had previously questioned Zhang Ji began to criticize him. After this person spoke, another person who questioned Zhang Ji said, "The words of an inner sect disciple of unknown origin are somewhat true. In my opinion, he might be a spy from the Blood Soul Galaxy who is deliberately trying to sow discord between the Heavenly Bull Divine sect and the Divine Wood Imperial family." "Elder Zhang Wen, what you said is wrong." Upon hearing Zhang Wen's words, Tai Balong was immediately displeased. He retorted, "Emo Qingyun was brought to the Heavenly Bull Divine sect from the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect by me. How could he be a spy from the Blood Soul Galaxy?" "Elder Tai Balong, I don't agree with what you said." As soon as Tai Balong finished speaking, Jiang Mu retorted and said indifferently, "This brat has entered the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, which means that he is very scheming. He wants to use the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect as a cover so that no one will suspect him. Sect Master, I can vouch on my honor that he is definitely not a spy from the Blood Soul Galaxy. Upon seeing Jiang Mu slander Mo Qingyun, Zhang Ji's expression turned solemn as he stepped forward to vouch for Mo Qingyun. Previously, Mo Qingyun killed more than 10 captains of the Blood Soul Galaxy at the front line. He has outstanding military merits, so he definitely can't be a spy. Killed more than 10 captains. Everyone was shocked. The way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically. This news was really shocking. In their opinion, one had to be at least a celestial domain grade cultivation base to become a captain of an army. Mo Qingyun's peak galaxy grade cultivation base had actually been able to kill celestial domain grade powerhouses. This kind of combat strength was really shocking. Upon seeing everyone's shocked expression, Tai Balong stepped forward and said, "Sect Master, Mo Qingyun is extremely talented and has condensed 10,000 Saint Force star clusters. It shouldn't be difficult for him to fight someone of a higher cultivation base. Originally, I wanted to wait until he was promoted to a core disciple before discussing this matter. However, since there are elders targeting him, I can only report this to you in advance. 10,000 Saint Force star clusters." Upon hearing Tai Balong's words, everyone in the hall was shocked. The way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed once again. Some elders were even moved by his talent and appeared to be overjoyed. It seemed like they wanted to take Mo Qingyun as a disciple. Upon seeing everyone's expressions, Jiang Mu got a little anxious and hurriedly said, "Everyone, being talented has nothing to do with being a spy. This doesn't mean that he isn't a spy either." "Old man, you keep saying that I'm a spy. Do you have any proof?" No matter how good Mo Qingyun's temper was, he could no longer remain calm in the face of Jiang Mu's repeated slander. "I also want to ask you something. What proof do you have to prove that you aren't a spy?" Chapter 2632. Jiang Mu was at a loss for words. Clearly, he did not expect that Mo Qingyun would ask him such a question. However, Jiang Mu was not an ordinary person. After being at a loss for words for a short while, he snorted with a dark face. "As an elder of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, why would I be a spy for another faction?" "Oh, is that so?" Mo Qingyun had already expected that Jiang Mu would refute him. He looked at him with a mocking gaze and smiled. "According to your logic, does being a sect elder have anything to do with being a spy? Also, with your status as an elder of the sect, it would be more harmful if you were a spy." Under Mo Qingyun's questioning, Jiang Mu was once again at a loss for words. He was so angry that his face kept twitching. He did not expect that his previous words would become Mo Qingyun's reason to refute him. He had really shot himself in the foot. Looking at the gloomy Jiang Mu, Mo Qingyun's aura did not change as he continued, "If you want to condemn me, you can always accuse me. Since you can forcefully convict me, can I do the same to you?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, many elders in the hall nodded their heads in agreement. Mo Qingyun was right. Jiang Mu's words were a little too much. "We are elders of the sect. How can we be compared to a disciple like you?" At this moment, an elder who questioned Zhang Ji earlier reprimanded Mo Qingyun with an unhappy expression. Mo Qingyun did not mind the elder's reprimand and retorted with a strong aura, "Are elders more noble than disciples? Don't forget that you also rose up from a disciple. In my opinion, other than entering the sect earlier, you are no different from a disciple in other aspects." "What an arrogant brat! I would like to see what right you have to spout such arrogant words." Seeing Mo Qingyun's domineering attitude, the elder was immediately enraged. He raised his hand and slapped towards Mo Qingyun. Facing the elder's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He raised his hand and waved it in front of him. Then, a shocking aura exploded in front of Mo Qingyun. At the same time, more than 10 powerful Blood Moon devilish zombies blocked in front of Mo Qingyun. The moment the Blood Moon demonic zombie was summoned, it launched an attack at the Elder and shattered his palm energy. After defeating the Elder's palm power, the Blood Moon demonic zombie's attack didn't slow down. It continued to counterattack. In the face of the Blood Moon devilish zombie's attack, the Elder was flustered and was bombarded by the Blood Moon devilish zombie's attacks. Bang bang bang. Under the attack of the Blood Moon devilish zombie, the Elder was immediately sent flying. He was severely injured. This scene happened too quickly, to the extent that everyone in the hall was unable to react for a moment. Seeing that the demonic Blood Moon zombie had injured that Elder, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and coldly said, "You can't win an argument, so you want to use your strength to suppress others. You're really impressive. It's really unfortunate that someone like you became an elder of the sect. You, after being humiliated by Mo Qingyun and now being humiliated by Mo Qingyun, the elder was so angry that he vomited blood. This was simply a great humiliation to him. Suppressing the anger in his heart, the elder looked at Guang Ping and pleaded, "Sect Master, I've done my best for the sect, but now I'm being humiliated by a junior. Please help me." Hearing the elder's request, Guang Ping's expression froze and he revealed a hesitant expression. While Guang Ping was hesitating, Jiang Mu's face darkened. He coldly snorted and said, "Sect Master, this kid is controlling these zombies. They were refined by the Blood Soul Galaxy's Bloodkill Lunar Demon. I suspect that he's a disciple of the Bloodkill Lunar Demon. I can't let him off easily." When Jiang Mu said this, the expressions of everyone in the hall changed drastically. Then, they looked at Mo Qingyun with intense hostility. If it was really as Jiang Mu said, then they couldn't let Mo Qingyun off. As the successor of the Bloodkill Lunar Demon, he actually came to the Heavenly Bull Divine sect to cause trouble. This was absolutely intolerable. "Sect Master, this kid is arrogant and willful. We must teach him a lesson." A disciple of the Blood Soul Galaxy's demonic sect actually came to our Heavenly Bull Divine sect to behave atrociously. Does he really think that there's no one in our Heavenly Bull Divine sect? If you know what's good for you, hand over the Blood Moon demonic zombie and listen to our punishment. We can spare you from physical pain. Some elders who harbored ill intentions stood out one after another to suppress Mo Qingyun. However, due to the strength of the Blood Moon demonic zombie, they didn't dare to forcefully make a move. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled contemptuously and said, "I'm just reminding the sect to be wary of the Divine Wood Royal Family, Blood Soul Royal Family, and Lone Soul sect. All of you are in a hurry to punish me. It looks like you guys are also their spies and are afraid that I'll ruin your plans." When Mo Qingyun said this, those who wanted to suppress him revealed some panic. Seeing these people's reactions, some of the more quick-witted people noticed something unusual. Under Mo Qingyun's reminder, Guang Ping noticed some clues and said, "Mo Qingyun, there's nothing for you to do here. You can leave first. As for whether you're a spy or not, we'll slowly investigate." Seeing Guang Ping's actions, an elder immediately tried to persuade him, but was stopped by him. "Yes." Hearing Guang Ping's instructions, Mo Qingyun responded and walked out of the hall. He knew that Guang Ping letting him leave the hall was a form of trust in him. He didn't want to debate whether he was a spy or not. After Mo Qingyun left the main hall, the people in the main hall split into two camps. Whether Mo Qingyun was a spy or not, they were both unwilling to accept each other's stubbornness. Mo Qingyun only smiled indifferently when he saw everyone's reaction. He didn't take it to heart. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality, there was no need to think too much about it. At worst, he'd just leave the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. With his current strength, it would be very difficult for the Heavenly Bull Divine sect to keep him here. After coming out of the discussion hall, Emo Qingyun's footsteps didn't stop as he directly returned to his residence. When Emo Qingyun returned to his abode, he was surprised to see a group of people standing guard outside his abode. At the front of these people was someone who looked very similar to Tang Ying. He was Tang Ying's brother, Tang Kuan. Senior brother Tang Kuan, this is the brat who killed Tang Ying. You must take revenge for Tang Ying. Seeing Emo Qingyun return to his residence, Wang Yuan's expression was gloomy as he encouraged Tang Kuan, who was beside him. When he heard Wang Yuan's words, Tang Kuan glanced at Emo Qingyun and exuded a frosty aura. Junior brother, although my second brother had some conflicts with you, you are still from the same sect. Isn't it too ruthless of you to kill him? As Tang Kuan questioned Emo Qingyun glanced at him and sensed Tang Kuan's cultivation base. Tang Kuan wasn't weak. He had reached the peak of the intermediate celestial domain grade and was only a step away from the late-stage celestial domain grade. This kind of cultivation, even among the core disciples, could be considered as one of the top. Chapter 26:33. Cut the crap. If you want to take revenge for Tang Ying, then just do it. In response to Tang Ying's question, Emo Qingyun put on a domineering attitude and urged him. Since he had already revealed his edge, there was no need for him to hide or play any tricks. For him, there was no meaning in enduring. What an arrogant brat! I want to see what you're capable of. Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Tang Kuan's expression darkened even more. He angrily said, I'll be waiting for you at the sex bullfighting arena. I hope you can still show this attitude when you get there. The bullfighting arena was a place where the disciples of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect settled their conflict. It was a very unique fighting arena. After Tang Kuan spoke, he rushed towards the bullfighting arena and prepared to fight with Emo Qingyun. Hearing Tang Kuan's words, Emo Qingyun did not retreat and followed behind him. Not long after, under Tang Kuan's lead, Emo Qingyun arrived at the bullfighting arena and saw many people surrounding it. In the middle of the bullfighting arena, there were two people fighting to the death. What surprised Emo Qingyun was that aside from the two disciples, there were also some bull-headed demonic beasts. These bull-headed demonic beasts took the opportunity to attack the two of them while they were fighting. From the looks of it, in the bullfighting arena, not only did they have to be wary of the enemy, they also had to be wary of the bull-headed demonic beast. This kind of fighting style is a little strange. Glancing at the bullfighting arena, Emo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile. He couldn't help but feel a little interested. It must be very exciting to fight with someone here. In a short while, under Emo Qingyun's observation, the battle between the two of them ended. The winner left the bullfighting arena. As for the one who was defeated, he became food for the bull-headed demonic beast. Such an outcome could be said to be cruel. Let's go. Seeing that the battle in front of him had ended, Tang Kuan said and flew into the bullfighting arena. Hearing this, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and flew into the bullfighting arena. Hey, the person fighting with Tang Kuan seems to be an inner court disciple. This brat really has guts. He actually dared to engage in a life-and-death battle with Tang Kuan in the bullfighting arena. I have to say, Tang Kuan is too sinister. He actually schemed against that brat. That's right. With that kid's strength, it's too disadvantageous for him to fight in the bullfighting arena. The people outside the bullfighting ring recognized Tang Kuan and felt sympathy for Emo Qingyun. In their opinion, the strength of both sides was completely unbalanced. This was a battle without any suspense. Emo Qingyun and Yi Shiwen entered the bullfighting arena. Numerous bull-headed demonic beasts were released and surrounded the two of them. Looking at the bull-headed demonic beasts that were closing in quickly, Emo Qingyun released his divine sense to sense their cultivation. Emo Qingyun sensed that these bull-headed demonic beasts were very strong. All of them had reached the celestial domain grade. Boy, I admire your courage, but you are too arrogant. Tang Kun glared coldly at Emo Qingyun. Then, his body moved and he launched an attack on Emo Qingyun. As Tang Kun launched his attack, the bull-headed demonic beasts from all around also charged at them. Very quickly, Emo Qingyun found himself in a situation where he was attacked from both sides. He had to face the attacks of Tang Kun and the bull-headed demonic beasts at the same time. Emo Qingyun finally understood Tang Kun's intentions after being caught in such a situation. Given Tang Kun's strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to handle the attacks of these demonic beasts with ease. However, an ordinary galaxy-grade martialist would have a 90% chance of dying in the face of so many bull-headed demonic beasts. Furthermore, Tang Kun was sneakily attacking them from the side, so they would definitely die. Fortunately, Emo Qingyun wasn't an ordinary martialist. Otherwise, he would have been in danger. Your calculations are very exquisite. It wouldn't be difficult to deal with an ordinary person, but it is useless against me. After understanding Tang Kun's intentions, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and mocked him. Given the strength of these bull-headed demonic beasts, even if I stood still, they wouldn't be able to hurt me. Sword energy rise. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he released his sword energy and bombarded the bull-headed demonic beasts that were approaching him. Faced with the tyrannical bombardment of the sword energy, the surrounding bull-headed demonic beasts were all killed in the blink of an eye. What is this ability? It is actually so powerful. When he saw the sword energy outside Emo Qingyun's body, Tang Kun was shocked. His eyes were filled with fear. The strength of Emo Qingyun's combat strength had greatly exceeded his expectations. This wasn't the combat strength of a galaxy-grade martialist at all. While Tang Kun was still in shock, streaks of sword energy flew towards him, exuding a fierce aura. In the face of these oncoming sword energy, Tang Kun immediately retreated, his face as pale as a sheet of paper. He knew very well that if he was hit by these sword energy, given his strength, he would definitely die. As Tang Kun retreated, the surrounding bull-headed demonic beasts all fled in fright. The strength that Emo Qingyun had displayed had made them feel terrified. In a short while, only Emo Qingyun and Tang Kun were left in the huge bullfighting arena. When they saw this abnormal scene, the surrounding onlookers exclaimed in surprise. Is that kid's cultivation really at the galaxy grade? His strength is too frightening. He can actually kill celestial domain grade bull-headed demonic beasts in an instant. I'm afraid that even some elders' strength is far inferior to his. Even some grand elders might not be as strong as him, let alone the elders. Tang Kun has miscalculated this time. He has bumped into a ruthless character. After witnessing Emo Qingyun's combat strength, everyone started to sympathize with Tang Kun. He could only admit that he was unlucky to have encountered a freak like Emo Qingyun. As everyone watched in shock, Emo Qingyun remained calm as he looked at Tang Kun, who was not far away, and said, "What other tricks do you have? Hurry up and use them. Otherwise, you won't have a chance." When he heard Emo Qingyun's words, Tang Kun was so frightened that his body started to tremble. His back was already drenched in sweat. At the moment, he felt a strong sense of regret. He regretted seeking revenge on Emo Qingyun. Tang Kun, who was filled with fear, said nervously, "Emo Qingyun, our identities aren't as simple as you think. I advise you to stop now." "Your identity isn't simple?" When he heard Tang Kun's words, Emo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He could guess what Tang Kun was referring to. "If my guess is correct, besides being a core disciple of the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, you are also a spy of the Divine Wood Royal family, right? How did you know?" When his secret was exposed, Tang Kun's expression froze and he started to panic. He knew very well what kind of punishment he would receive if the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect found out that he was a spy of the Divine Wood Royal family. When Tang Kun thought of this, He felt a sense of fear and didn't dare stay any longer. Chapter 26:34. Are you going to leave just like that? Seeing Tang Kuen's actions, Mo Qingyun saw through his intentions and questioned him coldly. While questioning Tang Kuen, Mo Qingyun's attacks did not slow down and he once again struck out with his palm. Violent saint power poured out and turned into a giant palm that covered the sky, trying to capture Tang Kuen. Facing Mo Qingyun's palm, Tang Kuen was so scared that his body trembled and his eyes were filled with terror. Then, Tang Kuen was captured by the giant palm like a little chick. What are you trying to do? Under the grasp of the giant palm made of saint power, Tang Kuen was brought in front of Mo Qingyun with a horrified expression. Looking at the flustered Tang Kuen, Mo Qingyun smiled meaningfully and said, "Don't worry, I won't kill you for the time being. If you're willing to cooperate, I might let you go after this." Really? Hearing Mo Qingyun's promise, Tang Kuen's eyes lit up and he showed an expectant expression. Originally, he thought that since Mo Qingyun had captured him, he would definitely kill him to prevent future troubles. He did not expect that Mo Qingyun would not kill him immediately after capturing him. Instead, he made a promise to him. This result really made him pleasantly surprised. Of course, Tang Kuen could not guarantee that this was not Mo Qingyun's scheme. However, he no longer had a choice. If he wanted to live, he had to do as Mo Qingyun said. "Let go of your primordial spirit and let me brand your soul." Mo Qingyun did not answer Tang Kuen's question and directly ordered him. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, there was no need to say anything more to Tang Kuen. If he did not cooperate, he would just kill him. Yes. Sensing Mo Qingyun's murderous intent, Tang Kuen showed a bitter expression and let go of his primordial spirit. He did not dare to take the risk and test Mo Qingyun's patience because the price was too high. If Mo Qingyun disregarded everything and really killed him, he would suffer a great loss. Very soon, Mo Qingyun planted a soul brand in Tang Kuen's primordial spirit. "Let's go." After subduing Tang Kuen, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and directly walked out of the bullfighting ring. Hearing this, Tang Kuen hurriedly followed with a servile posture. Seeing this scene, the surrounding onlookers were stunned. What did Mo Qingyun do to Tang Kuen? Why is Tang Kuen so respectful? If I'm not mistaken, Mo Qingyun seems to have planted a soul brand in Tang Kuen's soul. This can't be true. How could Tang Kuen agree to such a request? If you don't agree, you'll die. Tang Kuen has no other choice. While everyone was shocked, they could understand Tang Kuen's feelings. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun walked out of the bullfighting ring and said, "Tell me honestly, are those people from the Heavenly Bull Divine sect spies planted by the Divine Wood Royal family?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Tang Kuen revealed a hesitant look, looking very troubled. Seeing Tang Kuen's performance, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold and said unhappily, "Don't think that I'm sparing your life just to get information from you. If it's just to get information, I can completely take away your memories. Master, please calm your anger. This subordinate understands." Seeing Mo Qingyun angry, Tang Kuen panicked and hurriedly comforted Mo Qingyun. Following that, Tang Kuen said truthfully, "In the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, there are a total of 5 spies planted by the Divine Wood Royal family. They are Jiang Mu, Chen Chong, Ma Sihai, Zhang Buoziu, and Pan Yuesheng. Jiang Mu is indeed a spy from the Divine Wood Royal family." After listening to Tang Kuen's report, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. His previous guess had been answered. Following that, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any time and prepared to deal with Jiang Mu and the others. "Follow me to a place." After instructing Tang Kuen, Mo Qingyun walked forward and returned to the assembly hall. Jiang Mu and the others had slandered him just now, so it was time for him to retaliate. Soon, under Mo Qingyun's lead, the two of them arrived at the assembly hall. When Mo Qingyun entered the assembly hall, the people in the hall were still debating and seemed to have not reached a conclusion. Disciple Mo Qingyun greets the sect master and the various elders. Mo Qingyun walked into the assembly hall and cupped his hands at the crowd in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Mo Qingyun's sudden arrival surprised everyone. They did not expect him to return. No need for formalities. In response to Mo Qingyun's actions, Guang Ping waved his hand. He glanced at Tang Kuan behind him and said, Mo Qingyun, why are the two of you here? With Guang Ping's intelligence, he naturally knew that Mo Qingyun's return had something to do with Tang Kuan. Hearing Guang Ping's question, Mo Qingyun smiled meaningfully. He glanced at Jiang Mu and the others and said, Sect Master, I'm here to give a satisfactory answer to the matter that we discussed just now. When Mo Qingyun said this, Guang Ping and the others looked interested. They wanted to hear what he had to say. Compared to the curiosity of Guang Ping and the others, Jiang Mu and the others looked nervous. When they saw Tang Kuan arrive, they felt uneasy and had an extremely bad feeling. Tang Kuan, tell everyone the truth about the secret that you know. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun instructed Tang Kuan to expose the identities of Jiang Mu and the others. Yes. When he heard Mo Qingyun's order, Tang Kuan's gaze swept across Jiang Mu and the others fearfully. Then, Tang Kuan mustered his courage and recounted the matter of Jiang Mu and the others. As Tang Kuan spoke, the faces of Jiang Mu and the others immediately darkened. Wretched disciple, what benefits did this fellow give you? How dare you slander us like this? Chen Chong was enraged when he heard Tang Kuan's words. He berated Tang Kuan loudly and said, It's really a disgrace for me to have groomed a wretched disciple like you. Today I will punish you for your sins. As soon as Chen Chong said this, he unsheathed his sword and slashed at Tang Kuan. Chen Chong's attack erupted with a frightening aura. It was clearly the might of a peak celestial domain grade. When he saw Chen Chong slash at him, Tang Kuan's expression froze. He shot a pleading look at Mo Qingyun. Elder, why are you in such a hurry to make a move? Could it be that you have a guilty conscience? As Mo Qingyun spoke, he pointed a finger at Chen Chong and a golden sword light shot out. The golden sword light shot out and met Chen Chong's sword light, colliding violently with it. Plop! Chen Chong's sword light was instantly defeated by the golden sword light. Everyone was shocked when they saw this scene. The way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically. They could all see how powerful Chen Chong's sword light had been. It was enough to kill a late-stage celestial domain-grade powerhouse. However, Mo Qingyun had easily defeated it with a raise of his hand. This was far too unusual. Chapter 26:35. This kid actually has such strength. He really hit it well. If he didn't comprehend the law of space, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to suppress this kid. No wonder he dared to challenge Jiang Mu and the others. It turns out that he has such a trump card. Jiang Mu made a mistake this time. He underestimated this kid's ability. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, everyone whispered and immediately re-evaluated him. While everyone was whispering, they also revealed sympathetic gazes and glanced at Jiang Mu and the others. Provoking an enemy like Mo Qingyun was undoubtedly a headache. Compared to the others' surprise, Jiang Mu and the others' mood was undoubtedly extremely heavy. From the exchange just now, they could already tell that it was impossible to use force against Mo Qingyun. Kid, don't push your luck. The Heavenly Bull Divine Sect won't allow you to cause trouble. After suffering a loss in the exchange with Mo Qingyun, Chen Chong was not confident and reprimanded Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun chose to ignore his rebuke. He turned his head to look at Guang Ping and said, Sect Master, I think you already know the truth of the matter. I'll leave it to you to decide what to do next. Let's go. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, He nodded at Tang Kuan and walked out of the hall. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Tang Kuan's expression trembled and revealed a look of awe and admiration. Only Mo Qingyun would dare to act so freely in front of Guang Ping and the other elders. Although Mo Qingyun's current actions seemed a little unruly, no one was in the mood to pay attention to it. This was because they knew that the most important thing now was to capture Jiang Mu and the others. 5 elders, I don't need to say anything, right? After knowing the identity of Jiang Mu and the others, Guang Ping's expression turned cold and he questioned the 5 of them. When Guang Ping questioned the 5 of them, he gave off an irresistible feeling. In the face of Guang Ping's questioning, Jiang Mu and the others' expressions were uncertain as they quickly exchanged glances. Clearly, they did not want to confess that they were spies of the Divine Wood royal family. Go, capture the 5 of them. Seeing Jiang Mu's group of 5 hesitating, Jiang Mu immediately gave the order to attack, not even giving them a chance to explain. From this, it could be seen that Guang Ping was certain that Mo Qingyun was not lying. Yes. Under Guang Ping's command, Tai Balong and the others immediately took action to capture Jiang Mu and the others. Just now, these guys were all so arrogant. Now, they were finally going to be punished. Facing the joint attack of Tai Balong and the others, even though Jiang Mu and the others were not weak, they were defeated in the blink of an eye. Take him away. Seeing Jiang Mu and the other 4 captured, Guang Ping looked impatient and waved at Zhang Ji. After receiving Guang Ping's signal, Zhang Ji responded and escorted Jiang Mu and the other elders away. After Jiang Mu's group of 5 were taken away, Tai Balong walked to the center of the hall and said, Sovereign, this time, Mo Qingyun has made a great contribution by taking down Jiang Mu's group and eliminating a few scourges for our sect. I think he should be rewarded. Hearing Tai Balong's suggestion, everyone nodded in agreement. Eliminating Jiang Mu and the other 4 would be of great help to the development of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. Otherwise, Jiang Mu and the other 4 would continue to operate and slowly plant spies in the Divine Wood royal family. At that time, the Heavenly Bull Divine sect would be a mere figurehead and completely become a vassal of the Divine Wood royal family. Indeed, Mo Qingyun should be rewarded. Guang Ping nodded in agreement with a gratified look on his face. He said, I didn't expect our Heavenly Bull Divine sect to have such a disciple. It's really a great blessing for the sect. Mo Qingyun indeed has a Saint Power star cluster. His combat strength is unparalleled. Guang Ping sighed with emotion. He then looked at Tai Balong curiously and said, Elder Tai Balong, you've known Mo Qingyun for a long time and know him better. What do you think should be rewarded? What should I reward Mo Qingyun with? Hearing Guang Ping's question, Tai Balong's heart skipped a beat. He thought of Mo Qingyun's words and said, Mo Qingyun once asked me about the Star River meteorite flame, the Star Nest fire, and the 100-million-year flame crystal, as well as some information about spirit treasures that can improve aptitude. I think we should reward him with these things. These things are all incomparably precious. This Mo Qingyun is really ambitious. After hearing Tai Balong's words, Guang Ping could not help but sigh with emotion. He then made a decision and said, The sect happens to have 100-million-year flame crystals. Let's reward him with 100-million-year flame crystals. Sect Master, this is not appropriate. Before Guang Ping could make a decision, Deputy Commander Huang quickly interrupted and explained, Sect Master, you don't know. Mo Qingyun killed a large number of experts from the Blood Soul Galaxy in the astral battlefield. His battle achievements are outstanding. He won't run away from first place in the Core Disciple Assessment. I heard that the reward for first place in the Core Disciple Assessment is a 100-million-year flame crystal. With Mo Qingyun's strength, it's natural for him to take first place in the Core Disciple Assessment. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's strength, Guang Ping immediately had a prediction of his assessment result. He said, If that's the case, then it's my fault. However, The sect does not have the Star River Fallen Flame or the Star Nest Fire. We can only give him some spirit treasures that can increase his aptitude. Guang Ping made a decision in his heart and ordered Tai Balong, Elder Tai Balong, you are more familiar with Mo Qingyun. You have full authority to reward Mo Qingyun. Yes, this subordinate will do it right away. Hearing Guang Ping's words, Tai Balong responded and left the hall. After Tai Balong left, Guang Ping and the others began to discuss how to punish Jiang Mu's group. About half an hour later, Tai Balong's face was full of joy. He came to Mo Qingyun's cave and called out, Qingyun, quickly come and see what good things I have for you. Oh? Seeing Tai Balong's excited expression, Mo Qingyun was curious and quickly walked over. Under Mo Qingyun's curious gaze, Tai Balong took out a spirit fruit that emitted a rich spirit qi. These are, looking at the spirit fruit in front of him, Mo Qingyun showed a curious expression. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Tai Balong pretended to smile mysteriously and explained Guang Ping's reward. After hearing Tai Balong's explanation, Mo Qingyun showed a look of understanding. The doubts in his heart had been answered. Senior, many thanks. Mo Qingyun did not say any flowery words of gratitude. He just cupped his hands sincerely. However, Tai Balong thought this kind of gratitude was more direct and sincere. No need to be so polite. In response to Mo Qingyun's gratitude, Tai Balong smiled faintly and waved his hand. He began to introduce the spirit fruit to Mo Qingyun and said, these spirit fruits can improve one's physique. Although it is not particularly great, it can improve one's aptitude and cultivate to the galaxy grade. The most important thing is that there are no side effects. After listening to Tai Balong's explanation, Mo Qingyun's smile widened. He was even more grateful to Tai Balong. Chapter 2636. Senior, is there any news about the Star River Fallen Flame and Star Nest Fire? Mo Qingyun put away the spirit fruit that could increase his aptitude. Then, he asked Tai Balong for more information. Hearing Huang Xiaolong's question, Tai Balong shook his head apologetically. There is no news for now. These two things are too rare, different from the spirit fruit. It seems we can only search slowly. Mo Qingyun wasn't surprised by Tai Balong's answer. Don't worry, I will keep an eye out for you and inform you as soon as there is news. Tai Balong comforted. Many thanks. Mo Qingyun cupped his fist. There was no news about the Star River Fallen Flame and Star Nest Fire, so Mo Qingyun didn't ask any more questions. Senior, although Jiang Mu and the others have been captured, we can't lower our guard. Thinking of Jiang Mu and the others' identities, Mo Qingyun reminded Tai Balong. I'm worried that there are other spies from the Divine Tree royal family in the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, but they haven't been exposed yet. Mo Qingyun felt that Tang Kuan's identity wasn't high, so he might not know everything. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tai Balong nodded in agreement. Your worry is not without reason. Jiang Mu and the others can become spies, so can others. If there are spies, the news of Jiang Mu and the others being captured might have already been leaked. Mo Qingyun analyzed the situation, and his expression turned solemn as a strong sense of worry rose in his heart. I'm worried that the Divine Tree royal family will come to deal with the Heavenly Bull Divine sect after receiving this news. We must raise our vigilance. This matter is of utmost importance. I must inform the sect chief immediately. Thinking of the seriousness of the matter, Tai Balong didn't want to stay any longer and left to look for Guangping and the others. After sending Tai Balong off, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, entering the Fortune mainland. After obtaining the spirit fruit that could improve one's aptitude, Huang Xiaolong naturally had to hand it over to everyone so that they could refine it. Not long after, in a courtyard of the Fortune Immortal Palace, Missouri Qingyun summoned Yi Wuyo and the others. Qingyun, why are you looking for us? Is there news about Linglong? Don't keep us in suspense, hurry up and tell us. The girls surrounded Mo Qingyun and asked anxiously. Ling Long went to the heavenly realm. I'm afraid there won't be any news of her for a while. Thinking about Qian Linglong's departure, Mo Qingyun's expression dimmed a little, and a strong sense of longing arose in his heart. Based on the current situation, it would not be easy for him to go to the heaven realm. Mo Qingyun remained silent for a while and adjusted his mood. Then, he smiled faintly at the girls and said, although there is no news about Linglong, it is still good news. I found a spirit fruit that can improve one's aptitude. Really? When the women heard this, they were all pleasantly surprised. Due to their innate aptitudes, their cultivation had been stagnant for a long time. Even if there was some improvement, it was negligible. If this continued, the gap between them and Mo Qingyun would only grow bigger and bigger. Under the expectant gazes of the girls, Mo Qingyun took out the spirit fruit and gave one to each of them. After receiving the spirit fruit from Mo Qingyun, Yi Huio smiled happily and asked, Qingyun, if we consume these spirit fruits and improve our innate aptitudes, what realm can we reach in the end? When they heard Yi Huio's words, the other girls looked at Mo Qingyun with anticipation and nervousness. They knew very well that there was a limit to improving one's aptitude with the help of external objects. To them, the greater the increase in aptitude, the better. Under normal circumstances, these spirit fruits can improve one's aptitude and cultivate to the galaxy grade. Under the expectant gazes of the girls, Mo Qingyun explained the actual situation to them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, the women were overjoyed, and excitement appeared on their pretty faces. They had originally thought that the improvement of their aptitudes would not be too great. If they were to cultivate to the nebula grade, it should be the limit. They had not expected to cultivate to the galaxy grade. It had to be said that this news was really a pleasant surprise. Before the girls could calm down, Mo Qingyun continued speaking. These spirit fruits have an advantage. There will be no side effects after refining them. There will also be no conflicts when refining other treasures that can improve one's aptitude. When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, the girls' expressions became even more intense. If this continued, wouldn't they be able to improve their aptitudes continuously and improve their cultivation? In that case, let's go refine the spirit fruit. When they thought of this, the girls couldn't wait any longer and went to refine the spirit fruit. Soon, the girls returned to the house, leaving Mo Qingyun alone in the courtyard. Mo Qingyun smiled self-deprecatingly when he saw this situation. These girls were really impatient. I'll leave the rest of the spirit fruits to Grandpa. When he saw that the girls had returned to the house, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and rushed to Mo Hong Tian's residence. After a short while, Mo Qingyun gave the spirit fruits to Mo Hong Tian and asked them to distribute them. My cultivation has improved recently. I can try my luck at the Hong Meng Fog Sea. Mo Qingyun had always been thinking about the Hong Meng spirits in the Hong Meng Fog Sea. He had been thinking about how to capture them. If he could capture some Hong Meng spirits, it would be much easier for his cultivation to break through to the celestial domain grade. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and he arrived at the edge of the Hong Meng Fog Sea. I hope I can reap some rewards this time. Mo Qingyun scanned the Hong Meng Fog Sea briefly before he jumped into the Hong Meng Fog Sea expectantly. Very quickly, a shocking force came crashing down on him. Mo Qingyun's body shook as he was crushed by this force. He immediately used his saint power to resist it. Then, Mo Qingyun resisted this pressure and headed deeper into the Hong Meng Fog Sea bit by bit. It wasn't long before Mo Qingyun stopped moving forward, and he was 700 meters deep into the primordial mist. This time, he had made a lot of progress compared to the last time. He had gone a few hundred meters deep. However, Mo Qingyun felt helpless. He could not capture the Hong Meng spirits with this. Although he had gone a few hundred meters deep, it was difficult for him to move freely, let alone capture the Hong Meng spirits. It seems like capturing the Hong Meng spirits is still not realistic. Mo Qingyun sighed helplessly after he understood his situation. He knew that he had failed again. Seeing that his conjecture had failed, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer. He turned around and retreated to the edge of the Hong Meng fog sea. "Oh right, I can't catch up with the Hong Meng spirits, but I can set up traps." As he swam to the edge of the Hong Meng fog sea, Mo Qingyun had a flash of inspiration and a bold idea came to him. If I set up some formations in the Hong Meng fog sea, I might be able to capture the Hong Meng spirits. Chapter 2637. Several hours later, Mo Qingyun's attempt once again ended in failure. However, although this attempt had failed, it had stirred up his motivation. The reason for this failure is not because my method was wrong, but because my attainments in array formations are too low. After summarizing the reasons for his failure, Mo Qingyun came up with a solution. He immediately made up his mind. In that case, I'll make a trip to the heavenly bull divine sex Zhenlo to study array formations and raise my attainments in array formations before coming back to capture the Grand Mist spirits. Having made up his mind, Mo Qingyun did not want to delay any longer and immediately left the Fortune mainland. Back in his cultivation dwelling, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop as he rushed straight to Zhenlo. This trip to Zhenlo is a good opportunity to collect some high-level array formations and bring them back to the desolate mainland. On the way to Zhenlo, Mo Qingyun thought to himself, to raise the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan's foundation. A short while later, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Zhenlo, where he saw a 6-story hexagonal building. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he discovered that there were various kinds of mysterious array formations arranged around Zhenlo. These array formations are at least level 4, with some reaching level 5. Estimating the level of the array formations in the surroundings, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. His anticipation grew even stronger. In his opinion, since there were level 5 array formations outside Zhenlo, there must be a collection of level 5 array formations inside Zhenlo. After taking a brief look at Zhenlo, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop as he walked into Zhenlo's building. Mo Qingyun's arrival quickly attracted some people's attention, and they all turned to look at him. These people had been to the bullfighting arena and had seen his battle with Tang Kuan, thus they immediately recognized him. Why has Mo Qingyun come to Zhenlo? Could it be that he knows array formations? He seems to know array formations. It is said that the array formation outside his cultivation dwelling was arranged by him. I've been to his cultivation dwelling. Can that be considered an array formation? I admit that his talent for cultivation is high, but his attainments in formations are nothing. In my opinion, he's just a hothead now. He'll retreat once he hits a wall. All the disciples commented on Mo Qingyun, and most of them had a disdainful attitude. Mo Qingyun acted as if he did not see the performance of the disciples. He continued to observe the various formations as if there was no one around. These formations are quite profound. It would be great if someone could give me some pointers. After Mo Qingyun flipped through a few array formations, his brows furrowed tightly as he sighed. Although his talent in array Dao was not weak, his foundation was still too shallow. It was normal for him to be unable to understand these high-level holy arrays. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people who were paying attention to him immediately revealed mocking smiles. Did you hear that? Mo Qingyun said that array formations are difficult. Does he not understand? That's only a grade 2 holy array, right? If even a grade 2 holy array is difficult, his standard is really too high. Why don't we give him some pointers and let him know what array Dao is? While the crowd was whispering, they were even more disdainful of Mo Qingyun. At this moment, a young man walked out from the crowd and slowly came to Mo Qingyun's side. He said, "Junior brother Mo, do you want to study array Dao?" Do you need my help? I'm a little interested. I'm going to take some time to study it. Hearing this person's question, Emo Chingyun raised his head and glanced at him. After replying, Emo Chingyun ignored him and turned his attention back to the array formation scroll. Seeing Emo Chingyun's attitude, the disciple's expression immediately turned ugly. He said, "Junior brother Emo, Array Dao is very particular about accumulation and pointers. It's not enough to study it on your own. You'd better find someone to guide you." "You're right. It would be great if there was a grade 5 Holy Array Master to guide me personally." Emo Chingyun nodded in agreement with this person's point of view and sighed with emotion again. Hearing Emo Chingyun's words, the disciple's expression changed and he faintly showed some displeasure. He was a grade 4 Holy Array Master. According to Emo Chingyun's words, he was not qualified to guide Emo Chingyun. Although he understood the meaning of Emo Chingyun's words, he did not want to give up so easily and decided to humiliate Emo Chingyun. "Junior brother Emo, you don't know. Not just anyone can teach a grade 5 Holy Array Master." This person patiently lectured Emo Chingyun for a while. Then, he raised his head and said, "I'm not that talented. 1,000 years ago, I advanced to become a 4th-level Saint Array Master. Recently, I've set up an Array Dao lecture platform to give pointers to my junior brothers and sisters. Originally, with junior brother Mo's attainments, it would be a little difficult for you to listen to my lecture. However, I can make an exception and let you join a grade 4 Holy Array Master's lecture." When he heard this person's words, Emo Chingyun's brows furrowed. Then, he put on a disinterested expression and said, "That's still a little low. If I was a grade 5 Holy Array Master, perhaps it would be more appropriate." Renjun was a grade 4 Holy Array Master. Furthermore, his attainments were very high. This person could not be compared to him. Emo Chingyun might as well summon Renjun back and learn from him, instead of running over to learn Array Dao from him. When he heard Emo Chingyun's blunt words, this person's expression immediately turned ugly. He glared coldly at Emo Chingyun. Emo Chingyun did not care about this person's anger at all. Instead, he said impatiently, "Are you done talking? If you are, then move aside. Don't disturb me from flipping through Array Dao." Alright. When he saw Emo Chingyun chase him away, this person was so angry that his body trembled. He pointed at Emo Chingyun but could not say anything else. He was really infuriated. However, due to Emo Chingyun's powerful strength, he did not dare make a move against Emo Chingyun. Although he did not dare make a move against Emo Chingyun, that did not mean that he did not dare cause trouble for Emo Chingyun. Then, this person looked around and shouted to everyone in a clear voice, "Everyone, Junior Brother Emo just said that no one other than a grade 5 Holy Array Master has the right to give him pointers. Don't waste your energy later, lest you be looked down upon and ridiculed by him." Because of this person's words, everyone looked at Emo Chingyun with disdain and ridicule. With his attainments in Array Dao, he wants to ask a grade 5 Holy Array Master to give him pointers? What a fool's dream! There are only 2 grade 5 Holy Array Masters in our Sky Bull Mountain sect. They are the Grand Elders. Perhaps he is so influential that he can really ask the Grand Elders. Everyone mocked him again. Amidst everyone's ridicule, an old man in gray robes slowly walked into Tower Array. When they saw the old man walk into Tower Array, everyone's eyes widened. They could not believe that this was real. The brilliant Gang Grand Elder, who rarely showed himself, had actually come to Tower Array today. This was really too abnormal. What shocked everyone even more was that the brilliant Gang Grand Elder was walking in the direction of Emo Chingyun. Could it be that the brilliant Gang Grand Elder had come because of Emo Chingyun? Chapter 2638. Under everyone's nervous gazes, Huang Gang came in front of Mo Qingyun and sized up Mo Qingyun with interest. Sensing Huang Gang's gaze, Mo Qingyun put down the array formation scroll in his hand and cupped his hands. Disciple Mo Qingyun greets Grand Elder. No need for formalities. Huang Gang waved his hand and placed his hands behind his back. He smiled faintly and said, "This old man recently heard that an amazing little fellow has appeared in the sect. When I saw you just now, you really live up to your reputation. You are very interesting." Hearing Huang Gang's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and did not refute. Seeing Mo Qingyun remain silent, Huang Gang did not stop talking and continued, "I came out of seclusion this time to take in a disciple. I wonder if you are interested?" Hearing Huang Gang's words, Mo Qingyun was stunned. He was surprised by the old man's intentions. He could naturally sense that Huang Gang had suddenly come to the array tower to look for him. A level 5 sacred array master had taken the initiative to take him in as a disciple. This was truly enviable. Although Huang Gang's words were very attractive, Mo Qingyun did not immediately agree. Instead, he speculated on his intentions. Why does this person suddenly want to take me in as a disciple? Could he be a mole of the Divine Wood royal family? Mo Qingyun felt that although his performance was astonishing, it was not enough to make the other party think so highly of him. After all, learning the Tao of array formations was not just about cultivation talent. It also required astonishing talent in array formations. The power of the spatial laws. This old man has actually comprehended the spatial laws. Sensing the spatial energy fluctuations from Huang Gang, Mo Qingyun was alarmed. Otherwise, his guess was correct. With Huang Gang's strength, he would not be willing to join the Divine Wood royal family as a mole. The matter of becoming a disciple is no small matter. Can I consider it? Although Mo Qingyun was certain that Huang Gang's arrival had nothing to do with the Divine Wood royal family, he did not want to agree rashly. After all, he knew nothing about Huang Gang. It was better to consider it first. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the disciples beside him were so shocked that their eyes popped out. Although I don't like him, his luck is really good. Yeah, I was just thinking of having a level 5 sacred array master to guide him and the result appeared. Damn, the Grand Elder wants to take him in as a disciple and he actually has to consider it. That's one of the 2 level 5 sacred array masters in our sect. What the hell are you thinking about? Who would have thought that Mo Qingyun's treatment would make everyone envious? What made them even more speechless was that Mo Qingyun actually hesitated despite Huang Gang's high opinion of him. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's pretentiousness was too King magnificent. However, before everyone could calm down, they became even more speechless. Huang Gang was not angry at Mo Qingyun's hesitation. He pointed to the top of the tower and said, "There are 6 floors in total. Only the bottom 3 are open to the public. The 4th floor can only be entered by true disciples. The 5th floor can only be entered by elders. The 6th floor can only be entered by me with my permission." How good is this brat? Why does the Grand Elder value him so highly? They are both disciples. Why is there such a big difference in treatment? Big brother, you can clearly rely on martial arts. Why did you come here to learn array formations? There's a good cabbage. No, it should be another good master who has been snatched away by others. All the disciples were envious again. Under the envy of all the disciples, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "If that's the case, I can't refuse." Since Huang Gang had already put it this way, if he still refused, then he wouldn't be able to appreciate their kindness. It would be bad if Huang Gang was unhappy and gave him a small hindrance, forbidding him from entering Junlo. Besides, having a level 5 sacred array master to guide him wasn't a bad thing. "Come, follow me upstairs. I'll show you something good." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had agreed, Huang Gang turned and walked to the corridor, ready to go to the 2nd floor of the Junlo. Emo Qingyun followed closely and entered the second floor of the Zhenlo under the envious and jealous gazes of the crowd. After Emo Qingyun left, everyone's gaze shifted to the core disciple who had just left. This guy had just reminded everyone not to give any guidance to Emo Qingyun, but Huang Gang had appeared. It was a slap in the face. Senior brother Wencheng, that kid is too lucky. What should we do now? Seeing Emo Qingyun's situation, a core disciple beside Wencheng asked for his opinion. Hearing the question from the person beside him, Wencheng's face darkened. He said in a cold tone, "The brilliant Gang Grand Elder is famous for his bad temper. Although this brat has been accepted as a disciple, if his talent is too poor, he will only be punished by the brilliant Gang Grand Elder." Everyone nodded in agreement with Wencheng's analysis, looking forward to Emo Qingyun being punished. After some time, we'll challenge him in array formations and let him fight in front of Huang Gang Grand Elder. Wencheng said coldly. He didn't stay any longer and walked out of Zhenlo. Seeing that they had failed to humiliate Emo Qingyun, the crowd stopped watching and dispersed. Emo Qingyun followed Huang Gang and soon arrived at the top floor of the Zhenlo, where he saw powerful array formation scrolls. On these array formation scrolls, there were actually array formations that evolved on their own, giving off a very mysterious feeling. What shocked Emo Qingyun was that there was a small space on the 6th floor of the Zhenlo. Sit. While Emo Qingyun was looking around, Huang Gang waved his hand and sat down on a futon. Upon hearing Huang Gang's greeting, Emo Qingyun nodded and sat down beside him. "Are you curious why I accepted you as a disciple?" Seeing Emo Qingyun sit down in front of him, Huang Gang smiled meaningfully and asked about Emo Qingyun's puzzlement. Upon hearing Huang Gang's words, Emo Qingyun did not hide it and nodded honestly. "I'm indeed curious. After all, studying array formations is different from cultivating martial art. As long as one's talent is high enough, it's enough. Previously, I went to your cave abode and saw the array formations you set up." Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's puzzlement, Huang Gang began to explain to him the reason he had accepted him as a disciple. "Although the array formations you set up are of a lower grade, your array formation technique and method are very novel and unique. This shows that your comprehension of array formations is incomparable to others." "I see." After hearing Huang Gang's explanation, Emo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He had a clear answer to why Huang Gang had accepted him as a disciple. It seemed that Huang Gang had no intention of accepting him as a disciple at first. He was just interested in him. After seeing the array formations he had set up, Huang Gang changed his mind and decided to accept him as his last disciple. After thinking this through, Emo Qingyun's vigilance was greatly reduced. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.